no writer uses the word lodestar.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, September 13th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1068.
This is No Agenda.
Tracking George Clooney and broadcasting live from the angry microclimate of Lake Como, Italy, in the lakeside shanty. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I don't know what he's talking about, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
You know where I am. You followed me on the tweeters.
No, I don't know. Actually, I do not know where you are. And by the way, when we were talking just pre-show, I kept thinking that you were actually in Amsterdam.
No, we're sitting here.
No, I know you're in Italy someplace, but I was just telling you that's the feeling I had.
Okay, no, Lake Como.
Oh yes.
Near.
Oh yeah. The Clooney reference.
Yes, there's the Clooney reference. Yes, near Bellagio is where we are.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Lake Como?
No, actually, I have never been to Lake Como. I've always wanted to drive through.
It's not a place you drive through. What do you mean? It's not something.
I've always wanted to drive through, nonetheless.
You might want to look at the map and see exactly where the drive-through would be. It's two mountain. It's like mountain ranges with a glacial lake in the middle. There's no driving through.
You can't get up there in a car?
Yeah, you can get up here in a car, but you'd have to.
Well, then you can drive through.
No, you'd have to cross the lake somehow. You could get the ferry boat, and then I guess technically you could drive to Switzerland, of course. But this is more a destination. Never been here before, never even thought about it. I got to tell you, it's one of the most spectacular, beautiful places on earth I've ever seen.
So I've heard.
Oh, and no wonder George Clooney's got a place here. It's dynamite.
Did you go visit him? Say hi?
No, he's significantly further south, but I got to tell you, we did take one of those, tour boats where it's like 6 people. Three couples, and it's one of those Riva boats, the beautiful wooden boats, the whole Audrey Hepburn vibe. And so the tour consists entirely of looking at these houses, which is great because one of the main houses.
There's another house you don't own, and there's another house you don't own.
But
and there's another house you don't own.
But here's the house that you've seen in the movie Casino Royale and in Star Wars, the Empire Doesn't Know When to Come Back Part 3, or whichever one it was. And that is apparently quite a draw here for the Trekkies, not the Trekkies, for the Star Wars freaks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It really, really has been nice staying here. It's got its own microclimate, John. It's been just perfect weather, and then about an hour before the show started, thunder, lightning, just rain splashing down, and now it's lifting up again. It's really a great part of the world. And I've learned a lot.
Move there because the connection's good. Move there. That's my recommendation.
I'm glad that we saw Willow first. We were in. We went directly after the show, or the day after the show, the last show. We went to Florence for Willow, my sister's 25th anniversary, and that was in up in the hills there. And I've learned so much about what's going on in Italy. It's
okay. Well, that's where we're here for.
I thought you'd like that. Yeah. Now, the things I've learned, first of all, the political climate here is not properly represented in any mainstream media I've been reading or following, and probably because it's very complicated as to who exactly is running the show. But I guess we have the extreme left or an extreme right, and I'll say that with air quotes. They're both in the coalition, so absolutely nothing is getting done. And they're fighting all the time. And an example of that is marijuana was legal here for a little bit after one of the previous elections. And everyone was like, yeah, great. And now it's illegal again. That went in the course of 1 year.
Well, it didn't take much.
No, it went from legal to illegal. It's very bizarre. And Willow and her husband, they don't really talk about, and this is what I really thought was interesting. I think it's happening all over. It's not just happening in the U.S., but people are afraid to give their opinion in a social setting about, they're thinking about a certain politician or political party because it's just as toxic here. People are going insane over, the guys on the right, and others are going insane over the guys on the left. Now, in this case, they're both in the government, dysfunctionally making nothing move. But it's very interesting that people just want to shut up and they don't want to talk about it. That's exactly like the U.S.
Phenomenon.
It is, and it reminds me of the Netherlands with Geert Wilders, and I'm sure the same can be said for France with Le Pen and whatever else is happening there. Very, very interesting. Let me see, what do I have in my report here? Not much more on that, actually, but I did find out where all the Windows phones in the world have gone. They're here in Italy. Everywhere I turn, there's a Windows phone, a Windows smartphone.
Well, that's interesting.
At the car rental, at the check-in here, at a restaurant we went to, and I'll say, "What do you do with the Windows phone?" Yeah, the bottom line is people here are poor. They can't afford an iPhone. And I think somehow Windows just got their foothold in here, and everyone who has one say, "Yeah, I can't get any apps, I can't update, doesn't do anything more, but at least I can text and I can do some internet stuff." And they don't
get used to the reality. That's all you need.
Yeah, they don't. Yes, exactly. They don't really care, and no one is laughing at my OTG phone here. They'll look at, "Oh yeah, smart guy." Yeah, all right. Smart. You're an American? You sure? You're
okay.
Smart guy. He knows what's going on. So a couple other things just that I wrote down that I wanted to mention. A big, this is the 25th anniversary. They got a little castle and real party Italian style where there's about 150 guests. I think 10 of them came in, from other parts of the world, mainly related to my sister Willow, and the other 130 were all, distant relatives of the groom, and just it's like people who just kind of show up and they really like to party and they know how to party and they bring great gifts. But the number one gift in Italy, and I have not seen this in the States yet, is the surprise adventure box, and it's kind of like a gift card. And that's how you purchase it. But it's a box about the size of a CD. I think there may even be a DVD in there, but it is an adventure. And the adventure is you can go skydiving and there's a hotel day with it. Or you can choose love and there's 5 different packages you can choose from. It's really a chicken shit gift, I think, because instead of actually giving someone something you thought about, you're letting them make the decision. And they just had... I think they had 15 of these boxes, all different.
Really?
All different.
I agree with you. By the way, I think there's 2 problems. One is one of those cards, like
I don't like that. It's like
the idea is they never cash them in, and that's where you make your money.
There's that, yeah.
Which I find, and you're right. You should be able to be more thoughtful than that.
Yeah, it's like giving
somebody cash.
Yeah, gift card or something. I don't like that. It's like, I didn't give a shit about you. I can't.
Although most people don't bitch about it when you give them 100.
No, neither would I. I'd be kind of cool about that. Let's see. At the party, and this was, again, it was this kind of odd old castle with a couple of, party rooms, but mainly most of it was outdoors, but they had a pool. And the pool was in the back area. Now you have to imagine this setting. It's, Tuscany, it's the hills. It's kind of like the Mona Lisa backdrop idea, and off to the side, out the back, poorly lit, but the pool was lit. There's a nice pool. And so that was kind of the smoking area for the people who thought the law was still in effect, that you could smoke weed.
The smoking
area. But it was, but we were back there, and there's really no lights, just the pool light itself. And it was mind-boggling because of all these families. I'd say there were probably 10 to 15 kids, and the majority of them, so at least 10 of them, were ages 6 to 9. And they're just running around. And they're running around this pool, and they're, tripping over people's legs, and the pool is very exposed. And I thought, it's incredible. This would not happen in the United States. No. If this was going, people would be, oh, I can't believe this. There's nothing. There's no, the kids running around the pool. It's not protected. There's no getting around the pool. Blah, blah. And this was like, who gives a crap? One kid falls in the pool. Everyone's laughing, fish him out, take him upstairs, put some dry pants on. And it was so different from the completely overprotected, messed up nature of what we know in the States. It was really apparent that it was different.
Yeah. Well.
And I don't know why that is.
Yeah,
I think it's much better. I think
idea. I mean, I could make some judgments and assertions that probably aren't accurate, so I'm not going to say.
All right. Well, last thing for you, and of course we're only halfway in our travels. You were complaining the other day about how you were using a VPN and you were getting the Mexican version of Google. And why you were using Google, I don't understand, because we are a Bing family, so I'm a little disappointed in general. But you were complaining about this because you use a VPN often, correct?
Well, actually, let me explain that. No, I think I should have been bitching differently.
All right.
My complaint was Bing.
Oh, Bing. Okay.
Bing is the one that when it sees you in some part of the, you're in Mexico. Okay, well, I'm not in Mexico anymore. Now I'm going to let me switch to VPN. I'm in Canada. No, I'm still in Mexico.
Right.
Oh, well, okay, let me go to Connecticut. No. You're still in Mexico.
Ah, okay. I got you.
So whatever you do, once Bing sees you in Mexico, you're in Mexico for, I don't know, months, I guess.
Well, now I have exactly the opposite. I'm logged into Twitter. I'm logged in. So they know, hello, this is Adam. I'm sure there's some cookie somewhere that still says, yep, this guy's logged in. But I get Italian ads. Where's the logic in that? Italian ads on Twitter. They know who I am. They know that, and so I actually had to use a VPN.
This is a scam.
It makes no sense. They're losing money by not understanding that I am here on vacation.
This whole thing is bull crap. Oh, we got AI. We track you. We're giving you special ads that you want. And none of it works.
It really doesn't. It's very disappointing. It's like, wow. Yeah. So that was all the technology I got, except for we.
Well, wait a minute. You got the technology of how you hooked up.
What do you mean? How am I hooked up?
You hooked up to the little Giga thing?
I am. Yeah, the Gigas. Willow was very kind before we came over. I said, hey, can you pick me up a couple of Gigas? That's what they call them here in Italy. It's Gigas, of course, but they are all in on the GIF, so they say Gigas. And she said, yeah,
it is GIF.
Well, I know, but not everyone thinks so. And
how come the logic doesn't make sense? Because GIF would mean,
hey, I'm with you. I'm with you, and we're not going to relitigate that one.
No, we're not talking.
But I'm with you on that. So she got me an official card, which is on her name, which has 30 gigas a month. And I've already blown through 12, I think, just on the trip in general and show prep and getting ready. And I have 80 megabits down, and I have about 27 megabits up on this dongle right here, right at the lake. And the Wi-Fi in this Airbnb that we're staying in, which as you can hear is a little bit boomy. It's all made of, it's an old cave, I think, just hewn out of rock. You get on their Wi-Fi, which is the landline-based Wi-Fi connected to whatever Telecom Italia they have up here. You're talking about 0.9 megabit down, 0.6 up. It's unbelievable. And this is Tim. This is the Italian mobile company. It's fantastic. You can really live here as long as that part's working. You can. But I don't know what happens.
What is 30 gigas? What does 30 gigas cost?
It was 25 euros.
So it's 25 euros, and that would last a month?
It's good. That's your cap for the month, so you have to make that last, which of course is not enough. But there are some top-up options. Willow told me.
Two of those cards?
Yeah, you could get another card. Sure, you could get as many cards as you want. So for two of those cards, 50. You think that would cover you for a month? That's $50 a month for pretty high speeds. I think it would cover the show and show prep and regular living if we wanted to, and God knows why, but if we wanted to stream Netflix or anything, I think we'd probably run out a lot quicker than that. So
okay,
but we haven't watched any television. This is a beautiful country. These people don't need anything. They don't need television. They barely need an internet. You walk into the water, you grab some fish. You got tourism.
Hey, let me get a fish here for you.
You got oil. You got olive oil. You got your olive oil wood. These people are set. This is old school here. They're still living in a different century.
Or now.
No. I could live here for a while, no doubt.
Why don't you? I think you should move there.
Well, Tina and I keep considering that perhaps because we want to move out of downtown, maybe we get something just a home base, really effective, I would say, cost effective. And then 4 times a year, go away for 6 weeks and sit in a different part of the world, do the show, soak in the culture.
As long as you got the gigas.
Yeah, the gigas, be digital nomads. And seeing as she accepted my proposal last night.
Oh yes, this was on Twitter. I didn't follow what it was all about. I thought you already proposed. That's why you're a fiance. I thought this was already done.
I can't believe you didn't look on the Insta. I mean, I nailed it, John. I nailed it. I had her book the restaurant, and then because I can't do anything. She doesn't. She's suspicious. She's like, what are you doing? What is he? No, that's he's.
I don't blame her.
He's reacting odd. Why is he walking that way? Well, what? So I make sure that she called the restaurant. She made the reservation. Then I had my boys in Holland kick into gear. So it came in. We had the best table. People were giving me like the high sign, like they knew it was up. We sit down after the first course. This is a famous restaurant, Mistral. It has a Michelin star. This, I think, is the guy who they claim he invented molecular cooking. That's the chef.
It seems unlikely.
Yeah, they claim he's the one, and I was like, I don't think John would agree with that, but apparently he's the guy who started that. So, dinner is fantastic.
What's his name?
I have it written down. If you look up Mistral Restaurant in Bellagio, I can do it for you while I'm telling you the story. So we had already agreed that, after the entree, or after the appetizer, they would bring 2 glasses of champagne, and that would kind of be the cue, because they were also filming it. And they had the orchestra start playing Love Story. So it was like, and so there's this.
Brother.
What do you mean, oh, brother? Where's your romance, Dvorak? Shut up. So there's this fantastic video from behind, and the music starts swelling up, and then you can see Tina and get on one knee, and the ring box opens. It's just perfect. Perfect.
I don't know why did I think that you already went through this already? Are you going to just get engaged every year?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, well then that makes sense.
No, we had not gotten engaged. We were just.
I thought you did. I thought that was the big deal. You got engaged.
No, you listened very poorly. Yeah, we didn't. Let me see. I'll tell you who this guy's name is. Here we go. Team Chef Ettore Boccia. Does that ring any bells?
No.
The pastry chef Manuel Ferrari. No bells.
Vroom.
No, there was some.
But before you continue, let me say congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
And that's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay. All right, good. Yeah. I'm still looking for this guy's thing. Here it is. Ettore Boccia, the chef at the Mistral and Terrazia Cerboloni restaurant. Let me see. Where's the thing about him?
Serves bologna?
Yeah. Yes. Thus, the Mistral has been the innovation lab of Italian molecular cuisine, which Ettore Boccia founded in collaboration with David Cassi, professor of physics of matter at the Parma University.
When?
In 1729. I don't know. It was great. It was a magical evening. And then
the food was great.
Yeah, the food was great. And then what are the chances? Actually, we had a white wine that is made in Tuscany by prisoners. The guy had a pretty good rap. I got a label for you, so I can show that to you. I just thought it was funny. We're drinking prison wine. And
you're drinking prison wine. You know they make that stuff in toilets, right?
Tasty. And all right, fine. Yeah, you have no romance. You don't get it. You don't get romance, man. It's fine.
I don't get it.
You don't get romance.
I don't get drinking toilet wine in a weird restaurant for some phony guy who says he invented molecular cuisine. I don't get it. It's just beyond me.
You're just jealous. You're envious. As usual. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, she said yes. How about that? So, groovy.
I thought she already said this.
No,
is what baffles
you're
me.
so confused.
I am confused.
Yeah, it's all right. Don't worry about it.
But congratulations.
Thank you. And you're invited.
Okay. Where's it going to be?
Oh, not that you'll come. It's awesome. I'm sure.
I'll come if it depends.
Well, listen, we're going to have this toilet wine and this Italian molecular shit. We're going to do at the wedding. We can't wait to have you there.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, it's been fantastic. We've met some. I mean, what are the chances on the boat ride? There's two guys from Dallas. The people next to us last night, he was from Jersey, she was from Chicago. I mean, it's got a little American enclave.
Hey, the
here.
dollar and the euro, it's getting there.
It's getting pretty close. I know. Not a lot of Brits here at this time. It's actually.
Have you looked at the British pound?
Yeah, it's almost dead. These people. Yeah, and you know how much they hate that.
130.
They hate
it's
that.
so low. I think it was even 128 recently. They can't afford to do anything.
And you know that's what they hate the most when the pound changes. Like, well, we can't go on holiday.
Yes, that's what you
hate it.
In fact, it's one of the huge issues.
Yeah. So I mean, we're gonna go up to Switzerland Saturday, and then after that we'll go to the Netherlands. So I'll probably
what are you gonna do in Switzerland.
Remember the Large Hadron Collider? Hello, for my birthday.
Oh, that's right. Right, you're gonna get thrown in the Hadron Collider.
Just back up for the picture, baby. Just back up. I have a lot of requests for hoodies from the gift shop. I'm not so sure they have a gift shop actually, but.
I'll bet you $10 they do.
That should be fun. And then after that, we're going to go to the Netherlands for a little bit, and then we'll be back home. So it's been a very, very nice vacation. We've had a good time. So. And again, we are really kind of getting into the idea, well, maybe we could do this 4 times a year.
You should probably think of doing it 6 times a year. I think I would just go do the other way around. I'd be over there all the time. If you can get this connection, it's dynamite.
How come you don't do that?
Yeah, I don't feel like it.
Oh, okay. No. Yeah, with this kind of connection.
Travel to be tedious. At some point, you're going to get to this point, too. You're going to go, I don't know. I've already been there once. Yeah, but it's changed. I can't change that much. How much do you think it's changed? All kinds of stuff happening over here that you missed out on.
Yes, please. Well, I've been following a lot of it.
I probably have none of what you've been following.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
If you look at the list,
I looked at your list and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Well, actually, I'm glad
I don't know what any of this is.
I'm glad you got the Google stuff I saw, the Google video, the
Google video is disgusting.
It's really, I mean, I don't know if it's disgusting. It's just.
It was disgusting.
Is it surprising? Is it surprising to you?
It was disgusting, and let me express a few reasons why. Besides the fact that we had this particular, let's go with the Google stuff right now.
Okay.
Let's preface it with the Google. Somebody, I don't know how they got a hold of this, but Google does a TGIF thing or what Sergey calls TGF, a TGIF all hands meeting of some sort.
Which is unbelievable that this has not surfaced before. It seems like these types of video are prone to want to go viral, don't you think?
Yes, but I think they keep a lid on it. They got people they can trust. I think that obviously in this case, somebody made a copy for themselves, quit the company, and released it to Breitbart.
Yeah,
and I think it's illegal. By the way.
Oh, really?
In fact, I took a clip. I copied it with using one of the downloader.
Oh yeah, I did that too. I thought this is dynamite. This will go away
because I don't believe we're going to see it forever.
It'll go away.
A couple of weird things about it is. I think, for one thing, I think it's a copyright violation to put something like this out without permission. So I think it's an illegal video, but that makes it even more interesting.
Yes.
And so we have like crazy stuff. Anyways, it was a rant immediately after the election of Trump, and all these billionaires from Google are up there on the podium lamenting Trump's election, and you have to kind of wonder why. But let's play. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 6 small clips. Mm-hmm. One of them is a long clip. The rest of them are small. And one of the things at the end was a guy comes up, an Indian guy comes up to ask. I think this was the last question. First of all, I don't know when this happened, but Sergey Brin now sounds exactly like Ray Romano.
He does. Yes. Now that you mention that, he does sound a bit like Ray Romano.
He's kind of adenoidal. He's got a little Kermit the Frog sound. It's a little Ray Romano.
You know, honestly, he looks like he's a drinker or something is going on there. He does not look healthy. He can't breathe
through his nose anymore, so maybe there's an indicator there.
Gotcha.
But he sounds like Ray Romano. He's very upset by this whole thing. And I want to go right to the end where the prop head comes out. The guy comes out as an Indian programmer. There's a whole little group of them in this audience, and they're all wearing beanies with propellers on their heads.
No, wait a minute. I didn't see this part of the video.
It's right at the end.
Oh, okay. All right.
So he goes up there. He's got a beanie with a propeller on his head.
Uh-huh.
And he wraps this thing up. This is the prop head guy with Ray Romano.
Last question.
Is there anything positive you see from this election result?
Boy, that's a really tough one right now.
No, I can tell one.
Children.
So they get a big round of applause for that question. That way, I just decided to throw that in there, Shorty. Let's go to the opener, and this is Sergey's opener. This is when he comes on stage and he's lamenting the victory by Trump.
Okay, folks, I know this is probably not the most joyous TGIF we have had.
Look, Kermit the Frog too, yeah.
Let's face it, most people here are pretty upset and pretty sad for because of the election. But there's another group, small group, that we should also think about, who are very excited about the legalization of pot.
You know what I had to think when I was just looking at him and Page on stage, Larry Page, like these guys, he came from from Russia, from the Soviet Union, where the state was very controlling, and it seems like somehow there's a name for the syndrome where you become like your oppressor.
Well, it's not Stockholm syndrome.
No, I don't think it's Stockholm syndrome. But you identify with your oppressor and you become like the oppressor. Is that Stockholm? Yeah. Well, yeah. It's so evident. It's like, did he not learn anything?
Element. Yeah. That's that element. I'm offended by everything he said because, for one thing, this guy is the 10th richest person in the world with $55 billion. He's got an $80 million yacht, which is a little bigger than Page's $54 million yacht. Mm-hmm. And this guy's singing the blues about this situation as though it's like affecting him in any way whatsoever. Here's where he's offended. This is Google's. Yeah.
Anyway, on a more serious note, myself, as an immigrant and a refugee, I certainly find this election deeply offensive, and I know many of you do too.
Yeah, what I saw, and I actually went into about halfway through the Q&A. It was really bizarre to hear this. Offended, and Senjar, who's I think his name, he's talking about LGBTQ women, blacks. He literally said LGBTQ women, blacks. You're all fucked. It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah, really alternative universe stuff.
The one that got me kind of the most is the CFO, Ruth Porat.
Yes.
Who came on, and I want to just play her. And she comes out and starts crying on the stage because Hillary lost. And I want to play this, and then I want to point something out after this. And this may have offended me more than anything Sergey said.
So for what it's worth, I've been a very long time Hillary supporter. But as Kent said, the most important thing is I very much respect the outcome of the democratic process, and who any one of us voted for is really not the point, because the values that are held dear at this company transcend politics, because we're going to constantly fight to preserve them. I want to take you back to 8:30 p.m. on Tuesday night. I was at home with friends and family watching the election returns. And as we started to see the direction of the voting, I reached out to someone close to me who was at the Javits Center where the big celebration was supposed to occur in New York City, someone who had been working on the campaign. And I just sent him a note and said, are you okay? It looks like it's going the wrong way. And I got back a very sad, short text that read, "People are leaving, staff is crying, we're going to lose." That was the first moment I really felt like we were going to lose. And it was this massive, kick in the gut that we were going to lose. And it was really painful. And the thing that hit me, and I've talked about it here before, was like Sergei, my father was a refugee, and we moved to this country. And as a child, what I was always told is he fought hard, worked hard to get my sister and brother and I to this country because he wanted us to grow up in a place unlike what he had, a place where you would never be discriminated against based on who you were, the color of your skin, your religion, your beliefs. And that's the thing that kept going through my head on Tuesday.
Okay. So sad for her.
Let me give you the background of this woman. Her refugee status.
Oh.
Maybe her dad, or maybe there's something that went on before this, but she was born to a Jewish family in Sale, Greater Manchester, England. The daughter of Dr. Dan and Frida Porat. She moved at a young age to Cambridge. She's a refugee herself. She moved to a young age to Cambridge, Massachusetts, where her father was a research fellow in the physics department at Harvard. Her father later relocated the family to Palo Alto, California, where he worked at the SLAC National Accelerator Lab for 26 years.
Poor her.
This woman,
immigrant from England.
This immigrant from England. I will mention a couple of things about her that we should know. Besides being on the board of trustees of Stanford, a member of the board of the Stanford Management Company, borrowing advisory committee of the United States Treasury, she was almost named as a Treasury Secretary.
Huh.
She is not on the just on the Council of Foreign Relations. She is on the board of directors of the Council on Foreign Relations.
Oh, really? She is a agenda setter. Elite agenda setter. Poor little immigrant from England.
Poor little immigrant girl. Elite, and who is she kidding? She is incredibly offensive for this spiel and for her crying about the we lost. She didn't lose. Hillary lost.
Yeah.
I find this woman to be extremely offensive.
I can tell
and
you.
And everybody on that was up on the dais, they're all billionaires. And they're up on the dais singing the blues.
I like that at one point. I think one of the questions was, can we up the tax-free gifts we give to ACLU, which apparently they're all maxed out at $6,000? It's like, nice.
All right, let's get two more little clips in.
All right.
This one got me. This is the one woman who's a head of ER, which they call people. She's the chief people officer or something corny like that. And she just made this little offhanded comment, and I didn't get any clips from this one guy who came out with all the globalist spiel, but I got the sense that the whole company's globalist. If you listen to the Google woman on Brexit.
Much as Googlers earlier this year when I was in London tried to understand the vote of the British people to exit the European Union. And just like with Brexit, I'm seeing Googlers who are full of fear. They're full of fear about the future. They're full of fear about what the uncertainty means for them and their families. And so since I'm in People Ops, a lot of the questions I'm getting are how the Trump presidency might impact things like benefits and visas and jobs. So there's a tremendous amount we don't know. I would just advise us all to be calm. You know, there's a GCOM place that you can go to and just take a breath.
We're all gonna die.
A GCOM place. Take a breath at your GCOM station. There was a
GCOM station.
There was a lot of this stuff in there.
It's a bunch of cult stuff.
Yeah, it is really culty. Like a lot of people have asked if they can move to Canada and work at they want to be googly in Canada. A lot of this, I know the googliness of you is not so googly moogly right now, but the Googlers have to be in the googly Canada. And we'll take care of that because your same-sex partners may not be googly with the new googly administration. Very, very odd.
Very, very disgusting.
What happened to the guys who just have a great search engine? Their whole thing is like all they want to do is save the world. We are going to save.
Days are over. Yeah, they want to save the world in a globalist fashion. This woman who goes on about Brexit, you don't understand why the British people voted for Brexit? I mean, yeah, not all of them did, but a lot of them did. You don't understand even one reason to do that. They don't understand any of this.
Nazis. The Nazis have mind controlled them through the alt-right media, which we need to block.
And last but not least, we have this guy.
Is this the privileged guy?
Google privileged guy.
And no, I mean, that's a broad issue. I mean, beyond Trump specifically, who I know many of us find very offensive. But, in as much, and I know there are a number of Hillary supporters here, I mean, a lot of people might, view her and more broadly the Democratic Party being also very, polarized and having its own set of issues. So I think higher quality governance, would benefit everyone. Okay, we have 2 more questions, I guess. Okay, be super fast. Yes. Or, sorry, I'll take one at each mic. Sorry, sir, maybe.
Speaking to white men, there's an opportunity for you right now to understand your privilege in the society. Take the opportunity to go through the bias-busting training, read about privilege, read about the real history of oppression in our country, and tomorrow night, watch 13th, the movie that is here. If you can't watch it here, watch it on Netflix. Discuss the issues you are passionate about during Thanksgiving dinner, and don't back down and laugh it off when you hear the voice of oppression speak through metaphors, and I promise to do this.
What? Whatever it is, I'm all in. Yeah. Yes. I love that promise.
Last question, yes.
What the hell was that all about?
Well, he promises to do it.
He's going to watch the movie 13th?
So here we go. Now we got this guy, and I guess the company has something called Bias Blessings or Bias something.
Bias busting.
Bias busting.
Yeah.
Bias busting. So you go take the training. This all, again, by the way, sounds a lot more like Scientology.
Yeah, is this like self-emulation where you whip yourself?
That's where you torch yourself on fire. Anyway.
Hey, let's do that too. Yeah, self-flagellation.
Yeah, flagellation would be more like it. Anyway, the point is that these guys are they're like this is like a cult like none other I've ever seen.
It is. It's pretty.
They have and you're in or you're out, just like Scientology in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I can think of a million other cults. Most of the religious cults. This seems more like one of those. Bias busting. It's all code, a lot of code words. And then this guy, if you listen to this thing overall, the guy's saying everything that people should do and what he's going to do. And then he says, I'm going to do it. This is an affirmation.
Yes.
So he reads out loud his affirmation, and then he says he's going to do it. And they all give him a round of applause like you would in a cult because you're all in. And by the way,
you know what this reminds me of before you go there? We know what it reminds me of? The death of Stalin. Isn't it exactly like that?
There's death of Stalin aspects to it.
If you haven't seen the movie, you have to see the death of Stalin.
The death of Stalin is one of the really great movies made in the last few years. Yeah. Anyway, they had at the beginning of this, at the beginning of the beginning, when Sergey Kermit the Frog, Ray Romano came out. He said, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. And then just before he goes to this guy, he says, and make it quick. Make it quick.
Right.
He tells the guy to get on and get off. We don't have time for you.
Yeah.
So I found that all they wanted to do is talk. They wanted all the CEO, and
they wanted to project their. Oh yeah. Definitely.
They don't want you talking.
And you see, they had the blue shirt, blue microphone, pop screen, yellow shirt, yellow microphone, plop screen. Did you catch that?
Oh, I missed the yellow shirt. I noticed it, but I didn't think about it being thematic. Very good.
Yeah, they had a blue mic and a yellow mic.
His own microphone with a yellow ball on it to match his yellow T-shirt.
If you and I were, of course, I would have the $80 million yacht. You'd have the $54 million yacht. Even we wouldn't be that maniacal to have color-coordinated microphones. We'd go pretty far, I'm sure, but I don't think we'd go that far. That's
out there.
Yeah, that's pretty far.
I think I should have a yellow mic because I'm going to be wearing a yellow T-shirt. So can you give me a yellow mic? I really like a yellow. That way I'll match my T-shirt.
But I just want to remind everybody that throughout all of this, and we'll talk more about The Purge and Alex Jones, and the thing is, none of this matters. It will take 10 years, but everyone circumvents this stuff. They're not important. Google is not important. If you really believe the internet doesn't exist and you can't survive without Google, then what are you doing? There's a million different ways. I mean, sure, there's tons of people who base their business.
Grep, baby.
Yes, right. There's a lot of people who just grep away. A lot of people who base their business on what Google does. Or actually, I've been looking a lot at Instagram, it being, of course, a Facebook product. But what is happening right now with Instagram, it is becoming a very sophisticated version of QVC or home shopping. And I know you look at Instagram from time to time, but I don't know if you have an account or you just go and look at the web version.
No, I do not have an account. Oh, actually, here's the joke. I on my phone, I think I have an account, but I've never accessed it. And I don't know my password. I don't even know my name.
Okay.
So I just go on the computer. I don't do anything on the phone. I'm not a phone guy.
Right.
And I go on the computer and I go to Instagram when I find somebody's got, you should see my Instagram. And so I look at somebody's account because anyone can scrounge through anybody's account. Yeah. They're not locked.
Yeah. And by
so you look at the photos and you look at the photos this way. You go, oh my God, what an idiot. Oh, jeez. One after the other. That's what I do.
By the way, first of all, it's Insta. Okay. We don't say Instagram anymore.
Well, you're the one that said Instagram.
Yeah. I know. I was for your benefit. So Insta. But now every other person on the Insta has some kind of endorsement deal. And this goes from Hollywood celebrities, like soap opera celebrities, to newfound celebrities. In fact, the very interesting, I was reading this article. Let me see if I can find this. There's this young girl, and she created, her 29-year-old Like to Know It. And what she does is she basically outsources. It's like a syndication network for whatever happens to be plugged. And there's a lot of these agencies where you can go and you can buy impressions because it's pretty easy to measure when you have here's someone who has 20 or 30,000 followers and they do this thing. They wear your boots. They wear your clothes. My daughter makes money doing this, but I think
how much?
I will tell you one specific case where she had to wear a pair of boots, one post, one picture, $1,000. That's outrageous. That's outrageous money.
Keep the boots?
Yes, and she got to keep the boots. Outrageous money. But it's not secretive. She puts there, sponsored, and if it's a part of a campaign, it's sponsored. And she did the whole Levi's thing for Pride Week, and that was also based on Instagram. But what happens when Instagram at a certain point says, or Facebook, we need to grow some revenue. We need like another 4 cents per share. So we're going to force you to give us a piece of the action. And I can't fathom why people don't see this obviously coming down Broadway.
This happens on every business. It reminds me of the cable industry where they're all, they're taking, you can carry our shows, you can carry our networks. And then all of a sudden the networks are saying, looks like you're making a lot of money carrying our networks. Yeah, we're going to charge you.
We're going to charge you a little more.
ESPN.
Yeah, we've seen this.
And it's done very well. We're going to add a little more to that. So if you want to carry ESPN, you're going to have to pay us.
Yeah. It's obvious this is going to happen. I just don't understand why. When you see the demonetization, you think, that's just a bunch of stupid YouTubers. Who gives a crap about them? I've got my whole clothing business. It's like, don't you see? It's so obvious. And so these people need to immediately move off of these platforms and move their audience. To what? I mean, if you're really that interesting, and I think most aren't, people will follow you on your own website.
I think you kind of summarized the problem.
Well, of course I did. That's fine. There will be a number of people who are like us. We don't need Twitter. We don't need Facebook. I'm not even on Facebook anymore. We don't need it. We don't need them for distribution. We don't need them for promotion. I mean, we have. So if we got kicked off MailChimp, it would suck. But I'm sure we could create. We could.
I go to Constant Contact. We got
dudes. We got dudes named Ben who would. We got dudes named Ben who would be more than happy to set up a Major Domo list server for us. It's like all this stuff exists. We don't need it. No one really needs it. But people yet respond and react like they're God. And whereas we know the advertiser is God. And that will come back to haunt these companies too.
Stupid.
Well, not really, because, well, we've seen this, these sleeping giants type of operations and people calling out advertisers for being placed on certain platforms or websites. And advertisers, they may be stupid, but they don't want any part of it, and they pull immediately. Dumb. Okay. Oh, controversy, go away. I don't need it. Except for Nike, they, of course, seek it out.
Well, Nike's one of the smartest marketing companies we've ever seen.
Yes.
I mean, that whole swoosh thing is ludicrous.
Do you think that
I have an idea. Let's make this stupid-looking thing. We'll call it a swoosh, and we'll make it synonymous. So when people see it, they'll automatically, like Pavlov's dog, think Nike. Oh, bullcrap! That's never going to work.
They were one of the first. They were one of the first for sure. I don't know if this if Kaepernick works for them. I guess. I think it must. Sure I think it probably does.
He had a shoe deal with him to begin with. I think he still has it.
Yeah.
But anyway, while we're talking about this, I'm going to push the my favorite clip of the day.
Oh,
even though you may or may not reward it, and I don't like doing that.
Right at the beginning, or trying to force it. I mean, it's pretty brazen to say I deserve clip of the day. Yeah. All right,
but I'm sure you haven't heard this. Okay. This is a 2-minute and 13-second clip. I would wish you wouldn't interrupt it.
Okay, you got it.
Because it is just dynamite. And let me just give a preface. I picked this up off of this was an audio clip. I don't believe this was ever made into a video. I'm not even sure. This is an Alex Jones clip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure this is Alex Jones, but there's no reason to suggest it's not. And it's him promoting him. He's bitching about the fact that Twitter kicked him off, mm-hmm. and now he's talking about some of the other places you can find him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gone complete. This is the classic Alex Jones as we know him.
Folks, it's Alex Jones here. Out heard the New World Order has made its move.
No, that's not Alex Jones. I can tell you right now that is not Alex Jones. That's not Alex Jones.
It could be Colbert, but there is no. A couple of moments in here, it sounds so much like Alex Jones. I find it hard to believe. Although when you hear the ISO, which I also have, and some of the other stuff that's in here, yeah, this is just ridiculous. But it's believable to me.
This is a major inflection point in the history, not only of the United States Constitution, but of Anglo-Saxon common law going all the way back to the Magna Carta. We are seeing a curtailment of human rights here. You know, I'm as guilty as the next one. I sat back. I let this happen. First they came for Alex Jones, and I said nothing because I was Alex Jones. New World Order scum. We have access to a number of platforms. They've removed us from Twitter. They've removed us from Facebook. We're still on Tinder. We are incredibly undateable, but we have 200,000 followers on Tinder. We always swipe right. I have a presence on Shazam. You could try to find me there. Whatever you Shazam, I always try to tell you that what it actually sounds like is a New World Order conspiracy. You can find me on Twitch, folks. I will be on Twitch. I will be live streaming games of Cuphead where I will be a playable demon. I am the demon. I'm being tortured alive. I have chosen this life of torture. I am not afraid of you, demon that I made up in my mind. You can find us on Redfin. We still have presence on Redfin. What we have to do is put up real estate listings, and that's the only way we can get the truth out. That's how people come and look at a house, and then it turns out we're on IMDb. They can't take that down. I'm in a number of Richard Linklater movies. I have a presence on IMDb. Follow me on IMDb. Boom. We've been locked out of Apple Music and Spotify, so I have to do my own Darth Vader march. We're on MySpace. We're on Friendster. You will find the truth.
The best part was the troll room for at least half the clip is like, it's not him. It's not him. I'm like, duh.
Now, whoever that was, and it may have been Colbert because he does the best one
No,
I've
Colbert's not that good. That was not Colbert.
Not that good.
No.
He couldn't sustain. Damaged their voice.
Probably. Well, first of all, I'll give it to you. I'm generous.
Clip of the day.
Because you congratulated with my proposal. You get clip of the day. If you hadn't done that.
Congratulations again. I'll take another clip of the day later. Now, whoever did that damaged his voice. That is, or his or her voice.
Possibly.
I don't see it.
I like the demon ISO. Can I play that?
Yeah, play it.
I am the demon. Ah!
I have a bit of. Are you done with this? Because I do have some Alex Jones. I gotta.
We're on Twitch.
Yeah, we're on Twitch. We're on Tinder. That was funny. I like that. This is NPR.
Twitter has permanently suspended conspiracy theorist Alex Jones and his InfoWars channel from its platform. InfoWars famously promoted the fraudulent idea that the Sandy Hook shooting was faked. It took Twitter a month longer to ban Jones than it did Apple, Facebook, YouTube, even Pinterest, who all barred Jones last month.
Pinterest?
It's just as funny as what that guy was doing. They're banned from Pinterest. Oh, no.
Banned from Pinterest?
Washington Post technology policy reporter Tony Rahm is with us now to talk about this. Hey, Tony.
Hey,
thanks for having me. So,
this guy, listen to this guy. I think he's...
Alex Jones has said a whole lot of very offensive things over the years. Trafficked in hate speech and conspiracy theories. Many of these have transpired on Twitter. What was it that finally got him banned from this particular platform?
Yeah, Twitter said that Jones and InfoWars simply crossed the line. And when Twitter announced this in a series...
You got to listen to this. And I remember what the clip is about now. Cross the line. Simply, remember they have all these rules and terms of service or community standards. Now it's just you cross the line, buddy.
Series of tweets yesterday. It didn't point to a specific thing that Jones and InfoWars had done over the better part of the past 24 hours, but it wasn't the first time that he had violated the rules. And when I spoke with somebody at Twitter, they said one thing that weighed very heavily on them was the way that Jones conducted himself outside of a congressional hearing where Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey was testifying about the way that the company moderates content online. Jones essentially went after Republican Senator Marco Rubio, interrupted one of his press conferences. He yelled at Dorsey at one point as he was trying to leave the building. And then he live streamed an incident where he was attacking a CNN reporter, hurling verbal insults on him. That video was broadcast on Periscope, which is the live streaming site owned by Twitter. And so in the minds of the company, it essentially was too much. He had gone too far, and so they kicked him off the site.
Interesting. Although you mentioned that video was streamed on Periscope, a lot of this was happening IRL, right? Like in real life, not even on the Twitter platform. And they're like, still, this has to stop.
Now, so this is important. IRL, in real life, on the Insta.
She said IRL.
She said IRL, yes. Because,
amen, fist bump.
Because she's on the Insta. That's why she says IRL, everybody.
Yeah, it has to stop. And Twitter has talked about this in the past, that it definitely thinks about content in real life, the things you do off the site, when it makes decisions about how to handle your content on the site.
How about that, huh?
Because Twitter...
This guy has a womanly voice. I talked about this before on the show. This is one of the example when you first start playing that clip right there again. The same guy. I thought it was the female.
Okay, I told you the guy.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of men's voices are taking a higher register, and there's been a number of discussions on TV, in fact, about women's voices taking a lower register.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we're totally we're pukers. We're swapping, baby. We're swapping. That's what's happening. We're swapping. Men are men. Men are women. Women are men. Who the hell knows what's going? It's going to be great. But listen to what they're saying here is that Twitter acknowledges that how you act IRL in real life is just as important for them in determining if you're on their platform.
Interesting. Although you mentioned that video was streamed on Periscope, a lot of this was happening IRL, right? Like in real life, not even on the Twitter platform. And they're like, still, this has to stop.
Yeah, it has to stop. And Twitter has talked about this in the past, that it definitely thinks about content in real life, the things you do off the site, when it makes decisions about how to handle your content on the site. Because Twitter recognizes that if you're promoting harassment, if you're spreading hate speech, it's the sort of thing that could affect real users. It could have a serious impact on them and their health and their safety safety. And in the past, Twitter has yelled at Jones for precisely this behavior. The last time that he got in trouble at the end of August, Twitter imposed a 7-day suspension because Jones took to a video and said that he encouraged his supporters to take up, quote, battle rifles against journalists and people on the left and some of his...
Listen to the fabrication. He takes it much further. Listen.
Here, the last time that he got in trouble at the end of August, Twitter imposed a 7-day suspension because Jones took to a video and said that he encouraged his supporters to take up, quote, battle rifles against journalists and people on the left and some of his very critics. That to Twitter was a threat of violence, and it's the sort of thing that the company has been under pressure to clamp down on.
I told you that would become a whole different story, and now the lie is set in stone on NPR, your public, supported by people like you.
Your national treasure.
Your national treasure, yes. That's the part I hate the most.
Outrageous.
And I love how he said, Twitter yelled at him. Where is this guy from? Twitter yelled at him. Reprimanded might be a word you use in a news report, but this is not news. In fact, NPR has gone so off the rails. But I want to stick with The Purge for a moment, if we're done with Jones, which I think we are. You know the guy...
What I wanted.
What's that? You got what you wanted?
They got what I wanted.
You got your clip of the day, baby. You probably heard this. I think we've talked about this guy, Rush Valizadeh. He's a pickup artist, and he writes all these.
The pickup artist guy.
Yeah, he's probably a misogynistic dick, but I guess he has these books like Bang Stockholm, Bang Belarus, and he tells you how to pick up girls in these different cities or countries, and so he's being purged off of Amazon.
Yeah, and CreateSpace.
Here's a clip of him. I've chopped this down just to make it interesting for us.
It started on Friday. Now, even though Game came out on Friday...
This is him speaking. He's doing his own little video podcast.
A lot of guys were finding it before then and buying it. So when it launched on Friday, Game was already ranked in the top 10,000. So it was doing very well. And I think someone in Amazon noticed that because I got this email on Friday. And the email says, during our review process, we found that the subject matter of your book is in violation of our content guidelines. And this was in reference to The Best of Rush, Bang Iceland, and Bang Poland. So here I am releasing a new...
Which, by the way, I think is a must-read. Bang Poland, so much better than Bang Moscow.
...book on Friday, and then Amazon bans 3 of my other books. So I was a little bit uneasy, because once the seal is broken, once they start banning one book, it's easy to bang 100,000 after that. Sure enough, Sunday, I guess they sent me another email. And this time they banned 5 books, and with the same excuse. They banned Bang Estonia, Bang Lithuania, Bang Ukraine, 30 bangs, and Pussy.
And the thing that gets me, when you see this guy, you think, how is this guy banging anything? You look at this guy like, what?
Paradise. And when they banned the first 3 books, I tried to get some answers from them, and they just kept vaguely referring to their content guidelines. Here they say, I'm sorry, but we can't offer any additional insight or action on this matter. What guidelines are they talking about? Well, it's pretty vague. They don't accept pornography, which I don't sell, obviously. They don't sell offensive content. Well, what is offensive content? Here's what they say about it. What we deem offensive is probably about what you would expect.
And he's showing the screenshot of that being their actual guidelines, which is fair. It's just like, what? Why? Who gives it? What is their problem? What happened? How does this?
I know. I mean, you can figure out what happened.
Someone complained.
No, I don't think someone outside the company. I think an SJW in the company.
Oh, in the company. Mm-hmm.
Saw this, and she was, around the water cooler, or who knows what her position is. Could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided to just ban the guy. And they look, well, do you think we can do that? Yeah, we'll just ban him. Hell with him. Male pig.
It's all this is just baffling to me. What are you doing? Who cares?
Well, the social justice warriors care.
Yeah. I wound up with a lot of social justice warrior stuff for some reason. Oh, yes, this is actually quite important because we'll probably be hearing about this today being a show day, maybe tomorrow being the final day. There's a conference going on right now in New York City. Actually, that's something I would have, if I were in New York, I would have tried to go to this. I don't know if I'd be welcome. This is a technology summit. It's called Lesbians Who Tech. And it's big, and here's a little trailer they have.
This event is like the crystallization of my entire worldview all in one place. Woo-hoo!
Now it has big flashy words like, it's happening, New York. Yeah.
People are at the top of their game here. So many different topics. It's such an elite, expert set of speakers.
If you're coming as an attendee, you're going to meet incredible people. You're going to be inspired by perspectives that you didn't have.
It takes us, making the noise and pushing and never taking the no to change it.
So you get to come here, focus on the thing you love, and to be around people that have so much in common with you. We are women surround you in such a supportive, incredible way, and I think that's the magic and why people keep coming back.
So, no Lesbians Who Tech conference would be complete without a fireside chat with Hillary Clinton, which we're desperately waiting for. I don't know if it happens tonight or if it happens tomorrow night. But this is a very interesting conference, mainly because it seems like a great conference. If you look at their, the sessions that they have, this is a very interesting technology conference, certainly for New York.
Is everyone a lesbian? Do you have to be a lesbian? It sounds like you have to be a lesbian.
Yes, it
seems a little bit exclusive.
It's very exclusionary. And I'm looking at the website right now, which is lesbianswhotech.org. And
what does tech mean? What is tech? What
do you mean?
Is it
tech? TECH.
Is it tech? How do you tech?
Yeah, I know. Well, they tech. I don't know. Lesbians.
Well, how do you tech? I'm asking you. How do you? If I said, "Hey, Adam, go tech,"
yeah,
what would that mean to you?
Well, then you're doing tech stuff.
But what does that mean? You're just using your phone. You're making a phone call. Is that
that is unfortunately not. That is unfortunately not in the FAQs. But I'm sure that. I'm sure that Leanne Pittsford, the founder and CEO, would be very happy to tell you if you called her for an interview.
Maybe it's code for something else.
But on the website, question number 1, do I have to be a lesbian to attend? This is what I was interested in. Lesbians Who Tech is committed to convening queer women in technology and our allies in a vibrant and inclusive community. We work together to promote the visibility and inclusion of women, LGBTQ people, and the people from other backgrounds underrepresented in technology. If you work to move the mission forward, we want you on our team. Nobody has to be a lesbian to be in the community. We use the term to honor those who crossed a firewall with it. I'm not quite sure what they're saying, but of all the pictures I've seen, there's no straight white dudes to be found. So I don't feel so welcome. How do we show LGBTQ and allied pride? Well, we create a culture of vibrant inclusion, except for straight white guys, when we make spaces for ourselves and others to be influential. If we have a larger share of privilege, we show allied pride by making space to support others. We show pride when we hire people, finance projects, create opportunities, and share resources. We show pride when we work to move our community forward together. Also, don't understand much of what that meant. But it seems like a very, very exclusionary club, and it's sad, really, that it comes to this. Because it looks like a good conference, seriously. They got a lot of good tracks.
Have you ever learned anything at one of these conferences?
I've learned some things. I've learned some things.
Within the last decade?
No. Well, here, let me see what they have. Oh, this is interesting. About Lesbians Who Tech plus allies. Okay. February 2014, they were made official. Then they had 40,000 members, 42 plus chapters worldwide. The LWTSQAD leadership program. Oh, that's Lesbians Who Tech Squad. Okay. Then they got the Edie Windsor Coding Scholarship Program. Then they have White House LGBTQ Tech. Lesbians Who Tech on an Airplane. Nice. I think you're right. It's code. It's code. And Bring a Lesbian to Work Day. Nice.
What?
You got to see this. No, you got to see this website. But if you look at the tracks, they got blockchain, cryptocurrency, cybersecurity, AI, machine learning, the future of work, preparing your organization for automation, the cyber threat landscape.
That makes this even remotely interesting.
Now, you never go to anything. But anyway, the Hillary Clinton fireside chat will be interesting, and we hope to hear that very soon.
Gee, I wonder what she's going to talk about. Herself?
About what happened, of course.
Yeah, about what happened.
And
there was another event where Bob Woodward was in New York a couple of days ago at the something Y, and he was going to be interviewed by this character that was, I don't have his name handy, but they actually broke some news here, and I thought that this would be I didn't even listen to the Woodward. I didn't pay any attention to anything but this one short clip, Go Podcasting.
We also have a special announcement about our moderator tonight. Just today, he announced that he is leaving the Slate Group to launch a podcast company with Malcolm Gladwell.
And who was it?
I don't know. Who cares?
It sounds like a horrible announcement. Well, sorry, he can't be here. He's launching a podcasting company. Oh, we're so
out there. He showed up.
We're so sorry to hear that.
Thing, but he's not. He's just a suit and tie guy. Looks like a classic. Journalist worker, CIA guy. Mm-hmm. And he's launching a podcasting company with Malcolm Gladwell, who's already doing podcasting of sorts.
Okay, explain Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm Gladwell is the tipping point guy.
Right.
He is a writer that has this huge afro, and he writes nothing but bestsellers, short bestsellers, like The Tipping Point and a bunch of other books, and all of them make a lot of money, and he talks like this. He's very good for NPR.
Oh, yes.
Because he will keep you enthralled.
Yes.
Because there's not really a lot
has
of
that sound.
Screaming and yelling.
Yes,
it's not
he does. I know. It's fantastic.
And
when we do that, I should put you left and I'll be right. That's the NPR way. Hold on. I think I could do that. Hold on. I'll go over here. Okay. Yes. Okay. Where are you, John? All right. Talk to me.
Anyway.
Yes. Okay. You got to do your NPR voice.
Make big front page news. I don't get it.
Can't believe you.
All right.
I can't believe you wouldn't do your NPR voice while I was doing left and right. Doesn't matter. With that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C., where the C stands for Center of the Speakers, Dvorak.
I was noticing I was missing something. And then, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam McCurry. In the morning, all the boots in the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and nights out there.
Yes, in the morning to the troll room, noagendastream.com. Thank you for being here, helping me with my early morning crackles. If you don't know what that means, check into noagendastream.com every Thursday and Sunday morning as we bring you the show live. And I'd also like to say in the morning to comic strip blogger and Scott Adams, who combined brought us the artwork in a remixed version for episode 1067. This was the doubleheader where you, John C., brought us two interviews. One with Scott Adams, famous cartoonist, futurist, hypnotist, and Trump apologist. And as I just had to do that.
Yeah, well, why not?
And also Dane Jaspers. Is it Jaspers?
Dane Jasper from SonicNet, which I actually had to set a few people straight on the tweeters. It's like, oh, nice native ad, Dvorak. What do you think people thinking? Yeah, I don't know. They don't like us.
Did we get a check from Dane?
I wish.
Well, did you ask him?
Well, maybe I should have.
I like both interviews very much.
This comes up in the conversation quite a bit. There are products that we like and people that we like. And if we like them, we'll just do maybe it is a puff piece. But it's not that, we're doing it for money. We're not.
Well, hold on. Did you hold on? Whoa. Did
mattress
you?
Oh my God! This is the greatest thing I've ever laid on this foam mattress.
Did you get accused of it being a puff piece?
What? No, but I got accused of it being a native ad. I personally thought it was a puff piece.
Okay. All right. But it was interesting.
The only reason it was a puff piece is because I didn't know anything. The reason I did this call is because I said, well, let me get an interview in while I'm doing this, because you need an interview for this missing show. And I just wanted to know how the technology works, and what it's called and all the details about what because I started looking into it, and there's like all kinds of different ways that this is done.
Oh, so you could have just called the help desk, but instead you did an interview, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. From the guy who's doing it. So I found out what kind of gear is used, and I tried to figure out whether I can I'm looking to see, okay, I see what that is. Okay, can I replace that with something better? I'm always thinking to myself.
Yeah.
And apparently not at this point.
I thought it was interesting to listen to. I enjoyed it very much, and I really liked the Scott Adams interview. And I like that format where it's very conversational. It sounds like you're in a room with somebody. It's not at all. I was in a room with him. I know it's not at all the style of the show. Typically, but I like it being
not
different.
At all.
No, but I like that, so it was very enjoyable to me. Thank you for abusing my my disability for a cheap laugh in your show.
Oh yeah, so we did mention, because I thought Scott had Tourette's, and he didn't know that he does.
He does now.
He does now, and now he's going to be concerned about it. Dropped a little bomb on him.
But the story about him not being able to speak and to cut the nerves in his neck, and then he couldn't speak for 3.5 years.
Wow.
Holy crap. And you wouldn't know it when you listen to the guy today. And at some point, and really his whole story, his entire story makes up for some of the pompous ass he can be at point. And once in a while he's like, I'm a great hypnotist. I'm great. And they're like, yeah, you are actually. Shit, he's kind of great, and he's yeah. He should have added, I'm humble. He should add that to his roster. I'm humble. But it was very interesting, and I learned a lot about him and things I never knew. And the fact that he was the one that showed you the World Wide Web was interesting. The more you know type fact.
Yeah. Yes, this was in '93. It's when I first ran into him. I saw him a few times since, but then I guess I haven't seen him for a decade or long enough that I missed this whole can't speak thing. And I wanted to get the story, and I was actually stunned by this. I didn't realize it was 3.5 years of not being able to talk, but being able to talk fine if you're by yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, but and so the kind of guy he is then this comic strip blogger comes up with a cool version of Dilbert with 40%, which is how much business he says he's lost because of his analysis of Trump, and we were like, oh, this is great, this is perfect. So let's ask him, and he said yes. Most cartoonists, I think, they're kind of anal about that stuff, aren't they?
About what? About how much money they make?
No. About someone using their art and changing it and using it for a different purpose.
Well, I asked for permission.
I know you did, but I thought that was nice that he said yes. So that shows he's a good guy.
Yeah, many of the artists are very, they're freaky about it. Yeah. And I know for a fact when in the early days of the internet, in probably the late 90s, Scott was actually tracking down anyone who was reposting any stuff.
Oh, sure.
And then threatening him with shaking his fist. I don't know what else you could do.
And I didn't know anything about his food business and how he had screwed that up. It was very similar to me, where I had lots of money and I had a helicopter fractional ownership company, and 9/11 happens. Like, that was the beginning of a long slide. No one was using private aviation for a while after 9/11, and that's when his restaurants, or the restaurant he had in some crazy place with a horrible lease, and he just tanked on that. A lot of stuff you don't know about the guy.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had worked on. I spent I had a file open, and every once in a while a question would come to mind. I put it in there.
Hey, how many other interesting friends can we interview before they're dead or we are?
I got quite a few. I just have to do it.
Yeah, well, give me one name that would be interesting.
Who's a good name that would be well, I know who would be interesting to me,
Uh-huh.
and I want to do him.
Yeah. So to speak.
This guy Draper, yes. This guy Draper's 90-something. He runs a wine. He's one of the original wine importers in California, and he knows everything about the wine industry in the state.
You should do that.
And he's finally opened up a small shop.
Because, I'm thinking with all these interviews, and I have a couple people I can call. We've got a product. Or maybe not.
It's our exit strategy.
Once again, we're going to get out of this thing rich if it kills us. But let's thank people who have supported the show. This is for 2 episodes, seeing as we had your special doubleheader. And, of course, we're doing the show. We're back on schedule once again. The show here from Italy. The next show on Sunday will be from Switzerland. And then the show on Thursday after that will be from the Netherlands. So we're definitely putting in the effort to continue the best podcast in the universe.
So, yes, this is for 2 episodes, so they'll be a little longer than usual, especially the second reading. The first reading starts off with Sir Bradley, the Protectorate of the Outer Cyber Realm.
Ah, yes.
Who came in with $1,000.
Whoa! So he's a baron now. He must be a baron. It must be more than that.
Does he call for that?
He didn't request it. He can't. Or wait, Viscount. He's something.
Oh, he doesn't say anything. He says, just another dude named Ben here. Thank you for the salvation and entertainment. Shout out to Mark Klein of Barron County for hitting me in the mouth a while back. Please throw a little job karma my way and keep kicking ass. Title Sir Bradley, Protectorate of the Outer Cyber Realm. Isn't that already his title?
I thought he was a knight already. Let me check. Let me see if there's something that I'm missing on the... hold on. Maybe I'm missing something on the spreadsheet here. Let me check. We do have, I know we have a knighting. Let me check. We have, no.
Well, this has to be clarified, so he's going to have to get back to us, and we'll have to knight him later.
Yes.
Because I thought he was already knighted.
That's what I thought, too, but he could be a black knight now.
Well, that's taking a risk. You want to just re-knight him?
Well, what's the downside of re-knighting, and what's the downside of missing him?
The downside of re-knighting is nothing. It makes our segment a little longer. It fits better. The downside of not knighting him, if he hasn't actually been knighted, is then we have to make him a black knight.
Which is all upside. Yeah, but that's all upside for him.
Yeah, but so what? Okay, we'll skip it.
Oh, we'll skip it. There you go.
He hasn't been knighted.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
We're playing dangerous, living on the edge.
Yeah, we are. Sir Julian in Morgan Hill, California, a cute little community down in South Bay, $500. I've done the accounting, and there's no way I'm going to miss out on attending the Bay Area meetup. $500 short of Viscount. Oh, man. Now Earl sounds way better. So he gets upgraded to Viscount.
Yes, and that's on the list. He's on the list.
On there.
Yeah, he's on the
no
list.
No jingles, no nothing.
Okay.
Here we go.
Oh,
Nussbaum!
I wasn't ready for Nussbaum. Hold on. I'm on the road gear here. Why don't you just start and then I'll play it after.
Sir Thomas, Duke Thomas Nussbaum, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 45645. And he says Archduke combo of the Pi donation 3145.59 and the one of perfect and the one of the perfects 12345. Congrats to Adam and Tina as Florence passes. I hope to be at Austin meetup soon.
Oh, thank you.
Nussbaum!
Thank you very much, Archduke.
Daniel DeGroff in Westminster, Colorado, 33333. Thank you for all your efforts. The show is entertaining and educational. I have to tell you that No Agenda Podcast has ruined me for all other podcasts. Wait until the Malcolm Gladwell one.
Right.
The podcast quality, and they'll be talking like this the whole time.
Yes. Yeah.
The production quality in most podcasts is so low that even when the content is quality, that it's difficult to get through the entire thing. It's easy to take the high quality and sound engineering that No Agenda delivers for granted, but listen to any other podcast and see how you can see the difference. If possible, I'd like to get a message out to any dudes or dudettes named Ben in the audience. That's everyone. I'm a developer and CTO of a small software company, and because the stakes are so high for storing user passwords and managing logins and other security workflows in application development, we're trying to make a dent in this problem by offering software to developers for free to handle all of the user security, login, registration, account locking, etc. It can be downloaded for free at https://fusion, fusionauth.io, fusionauth.io. I double dare the No Agenda audience to try and take down the site by all heading there at once. Thanks for all you do.
Oh, yeah, like 100 people is going to make a difference to your website.
If I could get I think the name may have been Ben.
Yeah.
Clip and the goat scream, that would be fantastic.
I think his first name may have been Ben.
So a guy named Ben, a dude named Ben.
Sir Roger Boots in Mechanicsville, Iowa, $333. Sir Roger Boots, I just had my 65th birthday on 9/9. Might as well produce a show.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much, Sir Roger Boots.
John Avila, $333. I'm John from Sonoma. Long-time listener, first-time donor. Please de-douche me.
Okay.
You've been de-douched.
After listening to John's interviews, I ordered a Sonic Internet.
It worked.
Please, I need a commission. Please hit me with some Jobs Karma and replay Resist We Much. You guys are the best.
But resist we much. We must and we will much about that be committed.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
John F. in Lake Forest Park, Washington, $333, and he sent a note in and a check. A few weeks ago, John asked the producers to reflect on why donations might be down. Since I started listening to the BCITAU, I have been drawn toward being one of the Knights of the Round Table. I am not quite there yet, but with this donation, I can smell the delicious aroma wafting from the table. However, I get discouraged when John doesn't show the ceremony the proper respect and solemnness it deserves. He often shows up late, can't find his sword. It is stuck in the scabbard due to rust. He can't find his last can of Ranch Hand lubricant. It's a mess. Besides, everyone knows that a rusty blade is more dangerous than a sharp one, and who needs a case of tetanus on what should be a joyous moment?
Yes, the shots are horrible.
John, please focus and help inspire us, as Adam does, to strive to join this illustrious circle of knights and dames. Yours truly, John F., Lake Forest Park, Washington.
Oh, right. Well, you've been butt slammed. Yeah, you've been scolded.
Slammed. I've been butt slammed.
And we appreciate
John
the support.
Overall becomes our first associate executive producer, $256.33. I'm overdue to make a donation, and here it is in honor of my father who passed away on September 10th. Oh. Please read out the following, recognizing him and his service to our country. What? It doesn't have anything.
I don't have anything else here. Did we miss something, or was it just this?
I don't know. I didn't
receive anything else. Well,
if this is all it was, just read this. It's in honor of his father, passed away on September 10th.
And his service to our country.
John Overall, Night Runner. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. And we read it. Otherwise, we'll read it.
Yeah, please. We'll gladly read it. Just if there's anything else, send it to us. But we understand. And sorry for your loss.
Jason Zisler, in Renner, South Dakota, 200. He's another associate executive producer. We're a family here. Everyone listening, please keep donations coming to keep these guys in business. I hear lots of notes saying that this show is important to them for quality media analysis and entertainment. I feel the same way, and I feel compelled to donate to support this excellent show. Who doesn't love Adam's quirky and quick-witted humor and John's wisdom? Please call out my brother Joe's a douchebag. Douchebag! I've been listening for years, and he has been listening longer than me. I would like to send my brother Zachary some Jobs Karma as he starts his new job. Lastly, please play the Sharpton Respect clip. Today's donation takes me over the top for knighting. I would like to be called the Code Monkey, Sir Code Monkey, if available. Thank you for your hard work. Keep it up.
Yeah, 1 second. For some reason, I'm not sure why, but this didn't make it into the database because, I have to sync everything up. So I got it here. Okay. All right, I got it now. And he wants Sharpton and was it Jobs Karma as well? Yes.
For his brother.
RESPICT.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And that concludes our associate executive producers and executive producers for show 1067 and 1068.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. I've been doing a lot of thinking about our value for value system and our value network, and I've been, you go out on the road and you've got plenty of time to sit at the lake and think, and the big stuff coming. I see all kinds of this network is really working. I love it so much how everyone gets something out of it. And, of course, the financial support is a big part of it so we can do this job. And we'll be thanking not only you have received executive producer and associate executive producer titles for today, which you can use as official titles, but also everybody $50 and above in our second segment. And remember, another show, the next one, will be from Switzerland, Luzerne, Switzerland, and that'll be on Sunday. So remember us at
Dvorak.org/NA.
And you've learned so much about Italian lifestyle, kids at the pool. It's all part of our formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
We have Shut Up Slave. We have Sabina, who was my niece. Remember she did the Italian one? Let me see if I have that. Italian Shut Up Slave. Let me see. I wish I had that. Don't think I have it here for some reason.
That's when she was a little girl.
Yeah, but she's now 18.
She can't do that voice anymore.
She's like
she talks 18, like all women.
18 and like beautiful. Oh my God! Like you're the kid from Shut Up Slave in Italian. I can't believe I don't have that on this machine for some reason. I have to do a full sync of this. Anyway, I have been paying attention to what's been happening in Sweden. A lot of we have producers in Sweden, of course, in the surrounding countries, Scandinavian countries, and in the EU in general. There's lots of people interested in what's happening up a little bit north, and they had an election which I don't think was quite fully understood what is exactly what is happening in Sweden. But first, we'll go to a M5M report. This is CBC News about Sweden, their recent election, and their uncertain future.
Well, the coalitions on both the center-left and the center-right in Sweden have lost ground, including Prime Minister Stefan Löfven, his group on the center-left. But the far-right, the anti-immigration party, the Sweden Democrats, have gained ground. Their leader has said, in effect, they won.
Notice, by the way, that the far-right is actually called the Democrats, the Swedish Democrats. Very interesting how these parties are titled and named in different countries and what they stand for.
But the far right, the anti-immigration party, the Sweden Democrats, have gained ground. Their leader has said, in effect, they won. In fact, they didn't actually win, but the far right did manage to increase its portion of the vote from about 13% last time to almost 18% in this election. And here's how they see that result.
What we've seen here is a political earthquake in regards to Swedish political history. And I think that the leaders of the two big parties, the Social Democrats and the Moderate Party, need to listen to these people, need to change the policies that the Swedish people want to see. They want to see real change.
A few things worth underscoring here. For a long time, Sweden has been considered a bastion of social liberalism. And this party, the Sweden Democrats, have their roots in the neo-Nazi movement. An anti-immigration party. They want
sound familiar
refugees to return back to their native countries, and and they no longer want Sweden to accept any more refugees or asylum seekers coming in. Now, keep in mind, Sweden took in 163,000 asylum seekers back in 2015, and that is the biggest percentage of the population compared to all other EU countries. And if you want to compare that to Canada, compare apples to apples here, with Canada's population, it would have been like Canada taking in 592,000 asylum seekers in 1 year, Rashmi. In Sweden, this far-right party seems to have found a way to capitalize on a real concern in the country regarding all those newcomers.
Okay, so that's kind of the M5M take on it. Obviously we've got the Nazis, horrible, and the anti-immigration, blah. But when you really dig down into what's happening in Sweden, and for this I'm going to turn us to a podcast, and I think it's valid and relevant in this case, because we really don't know much about Sweden other than exactly what you heard in that report. Sweden is like, they are next to Denmark, the happiest people on earth. Everything's great. There's no poverty. It's fantastic. Free healthcare, free schooling. It's just, everyone looks cute. Sex is fantastic. The food is, fishy. Just whatever it is, Sweden's the best ever. And it turns out that Sweden has also just slowly degraded into a shithole country, which on the Deconstructive Critique podcast, in this case it's Jens Ganman and Aaron Flum. They did this one in English, which I'm very happy about. I can't understand. I mean, Swedish sounds like a Dutch person speaking Dutch while drunk, so I can pick up a few words here and there. But they did this one in English, and I thought it was interesting. What they did is they traced back what has been happening in Sweden to the time when Trump said, look at what's going on in Sweden. You recall that everyone went, what the hell is he talking about? Sweden's the best country ever. They give us ABBA. They write songs for Britney Spears. I mean, are you nuts? This is Sweden you're talking about. And of course, that's how we see Sweden. So these guys kind of lift the veil. I'm sure they're biased. I'm sure that, I think they're actually have been called out by state-run mainstream media as, these guys are problematic. they're part of the problem. They actually talk about it. I think most media, I don't know if they have commercial television, I'm not sure, but they do talk about the Swedish-run TV and the collusion between the press and the government. So I'll start. I just have two clips. The first one, again, is Jens and Flum, or Jens and Aaron, and this is they're talking about after how Trump kind of gave license to people to speak the truth about what's going on in Sweden after he said that.
So we were famous before for a very small country at the edge of the world with almost no impact on world affairs. We're very famous.
That's true.
And we're famous for a very special reason, aren't we?
Which is? The Swedish
We're the best country in the world. The most progressive, the most equal, the most gender neutral.
Yeah, true.
And that's why journalists after Trump felt that they could criticize us.
It was open season on Sweden from that point, and we became the focal point for criticism that had to do with failed integration and crime, rising crime, and we became the quote-unquote rape capital of the world. But what Trump said was essentially a starting point for pundits like Paul Joseph Watson, Stefan Molyneux, what's his name?
Molyneux.
Exactly, Molyneux. Said it's okay to badmouth Sweden. So that was a starting point in essence. But I think we need to set the record straight there, because these people said that Sweden was almost a Orwellian society where journalists lied and politicians lied, and we had huge problems with like I said, immigration and integration. But it's not as bad as they said. It's worse. So we need to set the record straight there.
After Trump said his famous words about last night in Sweden, all the Swedish newspapers went out, he's crazy, nothing happened last night. And the night after he had said that,
There was riots and barbecues.
Barbecues. That's
a new word.
Yeah. That's a new word, and it's a good one.
So there's been I think 16,000 burned cars for the past 10 years, something like that.
Yes.
This is statistics that.
So that's between 3 and 4 a day.
Yeah, it happens all over.
And Sweden is a very small country. We should point that out.
True.
And it's not a very. Not at least when it comes to the urban areas. Not everyone has a car.
Exactly, and Sweden is about as big as a mid-sized American state with 10 million people. So if you have 3 or 4 car burnings every night, all year round, that's a lot of cars that someone is
for
burning.
A decade.
Yeah, but the journalists in Sweden, they talk about this problem as if the cars it was spontaneous combustion.
Yes,
it's not like someone set fire to the cars suddenly burst into flames.
Because of socioeconomic variables.
Exactly.
I find this fascinating. We heard about a couple car fires. I didn't know it was 16,000.
That's a lot.
And are these all Volvos? And do Volvos burn poorly or well? I mean, I'd like to know.
Well, they have a lot of Saabs and a lot of BMWs there. Most of the Volvos go to California.
Wait, they don't make Saabs anymore. I thought Saab was dead. I thought Saab
they
was
still
over.
have them on the road. There's those cars that they make in Sweden last 10, 20 years.
I've been looking at the new Volvos. I think they're getting sexier.
Well, maybe.
If you're over 50. So now in the second clip, they'll talk about these, the photographers who were hired by the government to you'll hear it in the clip.
Before you continue.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got this clip because one of the things it's been baffling to me is that you hear the one side of the story and the various blogs about the mess that Sweden's become.
Right.
And then you hear the official story, which is it's just, they're just making, it's all bull crap. They're exaggerating. This is the same thing with the South African story. It's all exaggerated.
Right, exactly.
I don't understand how they think they can get away with this if it's not true.
And this is why I predict more or less that you and I will be finding more podcast material in the future, especially from other countries. It's really, really helpful to just hear. Now, have I checked the statistic of 16,000? No, but I'm going to think they've got to be pretty close to being realistic about this. It is completely the opposite when you hear about what journalists, in this case photojournalists, are doing to, for some reason, maintain the image. And I certainly don't think that...
What is the point of this?
I don't know. Well, listen to the clip and then we'll discuss.
After Trump said that about Sweden, a bunch of Swedish photographers decided to disprove Trump.
Right, good.
And we have museums here, and in Sweden, museums are owned and funded by the state.
Right.
And so we have in Stockholm, we have a very popular museum. It's called the Museum of Photography. It's the only popular museum because Swedes can't appreciate art if it's not, an exact representation of what they see in their daily lives. So they love photography and they go to see the Photography Museum.
Right.
And a lot of photographers in Sweden, famous photographers, got some sort of, I suppose, assignment from the government or from the museum to produce pictures to disprove Trump's image of Sweden.
Oh, what happened there? Okay. It kind of ended weirdly, but you got the idea that they did all these pictures that to disprove what Trump was saying. Well, yeah, Sweden's beautiful. You can take great, beautiful pictures of Sweden as long as you avoid the barbecues.
Couple of things interesting in there that I didn't know. One, and I've been to Sweden and I did some research before I went, so I wouldn't be an idiot.
I've been to Stockholm once. That's all. Once.
Oh no, I've been all over the place. I went all the way up and down the country.
And I had a Miss
high-speed rail.
I had a Miss Sweden hit on me once, but she was 60, so it didn't really count.
I don't know if that counts.
No.
Anyway,
no, it doesn't count.
So I'm, and it was before all this what's going on now. Is this comment that he made that Swedes don't like art? They like because they're all into realism. So the only art they would like would be hyper-realism, which some people do.
Yes,
it's not an unknown form of oil painting. In fact, it's very popular in some instances, and some people are extremely talented at doing it. But so they like photographs. So I wonder if there's got to be something to that, because that if you don't like art, you like just like realism or photographs. you would maybe be more susceptible to government propaganda.
Oh, very possible. If you're only into realism, then I'm sure reality television could do a lot to you. Interesting point.
The Swedish situation, you got to stay on these guys with their podcast.
Yeah, I will.
Because this whole situation has been baffling to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen documentaries
Well,
where they
hold
say,
on. Why is it? Hold on. Why is it baffling to you? This is happening all over Europe. Why is it baffling to you? Why wouldn't the number one social justice? Sweden, the social justice country of the world. Yeah. Why wouldn't they be, all in on all the stuff that is ruining everything?
It's baffling to me because it's such an extreme. It's like nothing's sneaking. I mean, there's except for this clip you've got. None of this leaks out. It leaks out of some blogs, and then the blogs are condemned for being lying Nazis.
Nazis.
And so I'm finding the Sweden thing to be the most problematic of all of it, the whole entire situation.
Well, I hope these guys keep doing podcasts in English because it's very informative and it's the more you know.
Well, if they are encouraged, maybe they'll do one. All they have to do is one a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed it, and I hope they do more in English. I do have something that I think you'll enjoy. What's the latest on this anonymous op-ed? I want to change my my view, by the way, as to who wrote it or who was the main character behind it.
But the latest, I don't know if I have any, because I do have a clip which I'm going to push off to the Sunday show because I forgot to move it over. And it surprises me that the clip was not more widely spread and didn't go viral. And it was a clip that Fallon had where they took pieces out of the op-ed and they found Pence saying each one of these things.
Oh, do you have? I heard about this clip. I haven't heard it. You don't have it?
I'll have it out here on Sunday.
Well, first, I'm glad. I'm okay. Sorry, go ahead.
But the kicker was, what was that word you found? It lodestone or lodestar?
Lodestar.
Yeah,
lodestar.
They caught Pence saying it in 3 different speeches.
Interesting. Well, it's a nautical term.
Now, when that happened, and they had all these other clips from Pence, but the lodestar thing. As soon as that happened, I thought to myself as a writer, this has been planted.
Oh, God. I can't wait to play my clip for you.
It's not Pence. They're trying to,
Yes. Yeah, they're trying to make it look like Pence. You got that, then you got, was it Kimmel? You said? Was it Kimmel who found it?
No, that was on Fallon.
Fallon. Okay. So that is clearly, oh my God, Mockingbird to the max.
Yeah.
Oof. Okay, I have a clip that fits.
That's the way I would have done it. I would do the same thing. If I'm like hanging out in the White House and I'm the guy doing this, or one of the guys, or maybe I'm not even in the White House, but I maybe was, or whatever. Because you got to remember a couple of things about this.
Just stop right there. No, just stop there. I have to play this clip because what you just said leads us right into this, and this is a great clip for a number of reasons. I think Ray got this for us, producer Ray. NPR's Scott Simon with Jill Abramson, former editor of the New York Times, also known as the Berkeley Hummer. So this clip is good. No matter what happens, you know it's going to be good because she's a Hummer and it's just hilarious to listen to. But listen to what he says and the flub he makes. And this is about the anonymous op-ed in the New York Times.
The editor of the New York Times doesn't make the decision. It's the opinion page editor, right?
That's exactly right, Scott. There's a very strict line inside the New York Times between the news side of the paper and opinion.
So, should the Times have just run a news story reporting that a high-ranking government official tried to plant an op-ed with them, place an op-ed?
Did he say plant instead of place? And did he correct himself?
Sure did. Between the news side of the paper and opinion.
So, should the Times have just run a news story reporting that a high-ranking government official tried to plant an op-ed with them, place an op-ed, in which they say they're working around the president because they don't trust his mental fitness for office?
I don't think so. I think the publication of the anonymous editorial was entirely appropriate and more striking, more newsworthy, because it was in the own words of the author, even though he or she did not want to put their name to it.
Can you imagine having sex with this woman? That's not it. A little more to the right.
But let me, just in the half minute we have left, whistleblowers are frequently somewhere in the thicket of bureaucracy. This is a self-described high-ranking official.
True.
They would have a lot of employment options. I mean, okay, they might lose their job, but they'll be on this show tomorrow if they do.
It's true. I see your point, and it's a good one. But I also think if this person is in a high-ranking position, they portray themselves as functioning almost like a brake system, trying to stop the worst impulses of this president. And if they resign to get another position, that brake, that safeguard to the public would no longer be there.
Jill Abramson, former executive editor at the New York Times, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks so much, Scott.
I love the plant flub, though. Because that makes so much sense, particularly with Fallon. Then, oh, look, Pence says this 3 times. Perfect.
Now, a couple of things I wanted to note is that, one, if I'm doing this, say I'm working there and I can write, I also know that people can identify certain characteristics of my writing. It's a scam would be one of them.
Right. Not a great question.
Not a great question. I don't put that in my writing necessarily, but I have certain quirks in my writing that people can identify in the pacing, the style, and there's a lot of programs that can identify authors.
Oh, yes, machine learning.
So the first thing you do is you look for your target, like who am I going to target to make it look like he did it, and then I just go back and look at the record and see, and then I just wait for them to say something over and over, and the things that Pence said over and over are all put into this thing. I put them in awkwardly. I'm going to have to look this thing over more carefully, but put them in awkwardly, and no writer uses the word lodestar.
No.
Ever.
No person in their right mind.
Pence say it 2 or 3 times. You say, well, I'm going to put this in there because this will really put the nail in the coffin on this guy. And I think, here's what happened, in my opinion. If you remember during the first early 6 months of the Trump administration, leaks were coming out left and right because they had his office bugged.
Right.
And then he moved out of the Oval Office and they did a redo and they put some, anti-bug surveillance work in there. And then so for the next year, all the stuff that was coming out bad about Trump was not really, it was either from somebody who they know who it was leaked it, or it was just made up, or it was, disgruntled employee always bitching about their boss, which is not uncommon. But they lost their ability to have all these they don't have the bugs in the office, it seems to me. And so stuff like this comes out, and it's, this gets very carefully orchestrated. It's got the New York Times is always a bad actor in this thing, and the fake stuff about Lodestar, I'm not buying it. I do have one clip on this topic.
Yes, I'm glad you got this. I'm glad you got this one. If this is the Trump's voice, then I'm glad you got that.
Oh no, I got that too, but that's not that's what the clip is. Oh. I got the FBI director talking about the memo on one of the networks.
The president has said that he wants the attorney general to investigate who wrote that anonymous New York Times op-ed. Do you believe, as the president does, that this is an issue of national security?
Well, first off, I can tell you I didn't write it. I didn't have anything to do with it. Second, I would tell you that we're not really in the practice of confirming or discussing whether we're going to be conducting a particular investigation. I would tell you that we're going to make decisions about that kind of thing based on all the factors we normally do, which is whether or not we have sufficient evidence of federal crime.
I want to ask you about the content of it. It describes...
Wait a minute. Whoa. I didn't quite understand what he said there. Whether we have evidence of a federal crime, what does that have to do with who the identity of the op-ed?
Well, all he's going to tell you is that he didn't write it. Yeah, but nothing to do with it.
Well, what's this about a crime? I'm going to back it up.
Well, the president told the FBI to look into this. It must be a crime.
Okay.
Practice.
And so he says, we're not going to do. No, we're not. Don't worry about it. We do what we do.
All right, I got it.
Confirming or discussing whether we're going to be conducting a particular investigation. I would tell you that we're going to make decisions about that kind of thing based on all the factors we normally do, which is whether or not we have sufficient evidence of federal crime.
I want to ask you about the content of it. It described the president's leadership style as, quote, impetuous, adversarial, petty, and ineffective. It said that the root of the president's problem is his, quote, amorality. Does that sound like the president you know?
I try very hard to make sure that my relationship with the president is a professional one. And that's what I think the relationship should be between any FBI director and any president.
Look, I'm still going to say, John, this was written by someone who's on his side, whether it was a composite or not.
I'm not going to argue
because you heard Jill Abramson also say, well, it's the brakes, so we have a safety brake. And that makes everybody happy. Hey, we got heroes in the White House. You had nothing to worry about.
Yeah, well, this I did not like this guy because his answer to the last question should have been not in my experience. That's your answer.
I agree.
It's not like, I guess I don't know. Maybe he might be a lunatic for all I know.
Yeah.
He says, the question is impetuous, adversarial, petty. I'm thinking when they say that, what boss isn't?
Exactly.
Almost every CEO that you ever run into, at least he's not a screamer.
Right.
There used to be a couple major Silicon Valley guys that were notorious. In fact, Microsoft, Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates.
Oh, yeah.
They're very impetuous.
How about Steve Jobs? People said he was a total
very
dick.
Adversarial.
Yeah, sure.
Very adversarial, and he would be petty. They're all that way. But the thing that was at the end was the immorality. Again, I'm not saying that this is every CEO you ever run into. A lot of them are very moral. They're religious people.
Well, you go ahead.
But a lot of them don't. Their morality doesn't come into the picture of management.
Well, this kind of brings us to Me Too, because we had, there was some more hashtag Me Too stuff that came out. Of course, we know that Les Moonves is out, and you just hear. Here's the thing. Les Moon, do you mind if I just switch over to this for a second? I don't think we have much more.
No,
Trump.
Not until you play the. You might as well. I
got to play Trump voice. Yeah, because I'm glad you got this because I didn't hear it because of the bandwidth situation. I wasn't.
You'll love it.
I wasn't on the dongle, but of course, I knew exactly. This is because he takes Propecia, right? He slurs his words. He slurs his words.
Every once in a while, this comes up. Yeah, that's his. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, it's Propecia. It's Propecia makes you slur.
The latest act of resistance is the op-ed published in the failing New York Times by an anonymous, really an anonymous, gutless coward.
Let me add it again.
He tries it twice.
And forget about it, man. It just can't be done. Hold on, let me do that again. And so it's interesting because you can hear the
latest.
You hear. First of all, he doesn't know how to pronounce it. That's the big problem. And then the slur kicks in. It's like a Tourette's issue almost.
Act of resistance is the op-ed published in the failing New York Times by an anonymous, really an anonymous, gutless coward.
Do you think anyone says, Mr. President, it's anonymous? Is there any? Does Melania say that to him?
I think everyone just rolls their eyes.
That's sad. Mr. President, please, people, clip this. Mr. President,
it's people like us.
It's anonymous. We understand the Propecia issue. We're very sorry about that. Especially, I got lots of hair. Yeah. I got lots of hair. That's pathetic. That's sad. Twice in a row. Let's see if it happens again.
Let's go to Me Too. Yeah, I know.
Okay, to Me Too. Okay, so Me Too, we've got Les Moonves. What's interesting and different about Les Moonves? And Tina pointed this out. thinking, guys. We drove from Florence to it was like a 4-hour drive. It was fantastic. It's every 30 seconds, Tina's like, whoa, because I blend into European driving, left, right, whatever, just straddle the line. So she's reading this to me, and she says these dates, these women that he apparently assaulted, and sounds like it's true. They're 37, 52. These are not like young chickens. These are mature women, and some of them said, "Fuck yeah, I'm not going to do that," and then walked away. And I think some were penalized. But there's something going on, and I'm not quite sure how to articulate it. But there's certainly in show business, we have a situation where very powerful men actually exert their power and prove their power by doing this. And it's really threatening women. So far, let's just say it's men doing this to women. Because what you don't hear is, don't tell anybody. Come on, don't. Trump does that. Trump's like, oh, let me give you $150,000. Don't tell anybody. It's for my wife. It's not. And because he's a philandering douche. But these guys, it's different. They get their power by being scary men who can ruin your career. And every story you read is women saying, well, I didn't report it because I thought my chances of my career would be gone.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame them.
No, I don't. I don't blame them either. But it's a two-way street in the patriarchy. We need some heroes here. And we have a few, but we need more heroes who say, I'm going to stand up to this guy. I don't care about my career. But, you read over and over again, people care about their career. And it just propagates. And look at these guys. And they're all weenie boy dickheads. You and I could beat up any one of them. You and I could beat them up. You understand what I'm saying? These are douchebags. Yeah, that's pretty
pathetic.
Yes.
Now let's go to the newest guy, the clean sweep at CBS.
Yeah.
And this is CBS reporting on the firing of the head of news and the head of the 60 Minutes show, Fager.
Mm-hmm.
They ousted him while you were traveling around, while you were looking at the art in Florence. This guy was getting kicked
We didn't
out.
go to Florence. We're not looking at the art in Florence, but okay.
Well, you were floating around.
We were drinking toilet wine.
Yes, drinking toilet wine like a dog. The long clip, and then there's the kicker, which is the woman who's reporting on this is the one who is at the center of the problem for this guy Fager, who does sound like a complete douchebag, and he was part of the Moonves clique along with Charlie Rose. Let's go. CBS fires Fager 1.
PBS News today fired Jeff Fager, the executive producer of 60 Minutes, who'd spent 36 years at the network. In less than a year now, three of the most powerful men in broadcasting, Fager, CBS chairman and CEO Leslie Moonves, and CBS This Morning co-host Charlie Rose, all accused of sexual misconduct, have either been fired or resigned. Jerika Duncan has the latest on Fager, including his controversial text message.
Jeff Fager, the executive producer of the oldest and most successful news magazine program in history, 60 Minutes, was fired from CBS News this afternoon. In its more than 50 years on air, only two people have led that broadcast. Fager succeeded the show's creator, Don Hewitt, in 2004. Fager also recently served as the chairman of the CBS News division.
When we cover a story and report it on Sunday night and it has impact on Monday morning, that's what you hope for.
Fager hired Charlie Rose for multiple roles at the network. In November, Rose was terminated. This July, 6 female former CBS employees told The New Yorker Fager would touch employees in ways that made them uncomfortable after drinking at office parties.
Wait a minute. So they're at an office party, and everyone, of course, is drinking at the office party, and then the guy touches them in ways that they feel uncomfortable. This is why.
Well, let's imagine a couple of those things. A couple of things you've witnessed it.
Yeah, I've had office parties. I've been a boss. Yes.
There's been the guy who goes up and he says, "Oh, hi, you're new here," and then he's like shaking her hands and then rubbing her arm very slowly with his left hand and up and down.
Douche.
The other one is the guy who likes to slap his, just sitting next to somebody, puts his hand on her knee. And then if she doesn't take the hand off the knee immediately, girls take a hint here. You either leave the hand on there or you don't. Yeah. But if you leave it on there, it's going to start moving. Yeah. And
north.
Yeah, north. And so that is to me, douche. I think would be uncomfortable from this guy. And he's he looks like a douche.
But they really shouldn't have office parties. I've always been a fan of having a Friday afternoon drink with everybody, and then you go home and you go to your family and your partner and you have fun. But the office parties is not a good idea.
Yeah, you might be right.
That's what you hope for.
Fager hired Charlie Rose for multiple roles at the network. In November, Rose was terminated. This July, 6 female former CBS employees told The New Yorker Fager would touch employees in ways that made them uncomfortable after drinking at office parties. 19 current and former employees told The New Yorker Fager allowed harassment in the division. Fager vehemently denied all of those claims. Fager continued to come to work. On Sunday, The New Yorker reported a new accuser said she felt compelled to speak because she simply can't believe Fager is back there. The article described her as a producer who was an intern at CBS in the early 2000s who said that he groped her at a work party. Yeah. In response to that allegation, Fager told CBS News, "This is an outrageous claim, and it didn't happen. It is wrong." Fager's departure comes days after CBS chairman and CEO Leslie Moonves resigned following allegations of sexual assault and harassment. We caught up with CBS News president David Rhodes today after he briefed the 60 Minutes staff.
Can't talk to you guys about this today.
In a statement today, Rhodes said Fager's dismissal is not directly related to the allegations surfaced in press reports, which continue to be investigated independently. However, he violated company policy, and it is our commitment to uphold those policies. Through his attorney, Fager told CBS News, "They terminated my contract early because I sent a text message to one of our own CBS reporters demanding that she be fair in covering the story. My language was harsh. CBS did not like it."
Now let's stop there. Couple of things. One, the CBS president wouldn't talk. This is a report by CBS.
Well, hello.
I mean, if your own president, what is wrong with you? Get rid of him too.
Yeah, for real.
And then they did get rid of him on a technicality because this woman doing the report is the one who got the note and she revealed it publicly, and she's now going to go back and read the note. It's a tweet or an email or a text.
Yeah.
And when you hear it, you're going to go, oh, shit, everything is true.
My language was harsh. CBS did not like it.
I am that reporter. Since Jeff Fager publicly referred to our exchange today, I want to be transparent about it. First, here's some background. Sunday evening, I reached out to Fager for comment on the articles alleging he groped or touched CBS employees at company parties. In addition to denying these charges, Fager in a text said to me, quote, "If you repeat these false accusations without any of your own reporting to back them up, you will be held responsible for harming me." He went on to say, "Be careful. There are people who lost their jobs trying to harm me, and if you pass on these damaging claims without your own reporting to back them up, that will become a serious problem."
I got to ask you a question. We are two older, white, straight males. We have both been in positions of power. I had a company with 400 employees, public company. Why do we not do this? And why are there some guys who do? Or is it pure? I mean, what is it? What happens? Is it because, these guys they've wives at home, partners. What is going wrong? What is happening? It can't just be that men need to spread their seed everywhere. There's something, you know what I mean? Something is very, very wrong. Their relationship is wrong. I mean, I'm struggling to understand how this happens. It's not in my DNA, and I know it's not in yours. How does this happen? Where is this coming from? Is it purely the industry, the sector?
I think the industry is largely responsible, and you gravitate toward these industries And when you're in them, floating around them, whether you're in them for a little short term or a long term, it's kind of almost part of that subculture of these industries, the TV, radio, movie industry. The subculture is very sexual.
Well, that's also because the product is sexual, so that makes sense. Advertising, I would say politics as well. I think it's still advertising. You're advertising a message. There's that show business for ugly people is often said. So I think this just a business with sexual nature in it is not helpful. But damn, how does it happen?
I think if you were, I don't know how it happens because it's never happened to us. But if you were like getting, I mean, MoveInvest is going to get $100 million for getting kicked out.
Well, they're clawing back.
You're making $50 million a year, let's say, and you're running CBS and you're calling the shots on all these shows. You're green. You're the guy doing all the work. So it's just
power. You're saying it's just power, but have that power over people that power
I think
makes
it's intoxicating.
And okay. But I've had power.
So it could happen to anybody. And it happens to women. Look at Janet Napolitano's operation when she was running the Homeland Security.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't want to pollute the waters and just trying to understand how it happens, why it happened, and is it in every industry? It seems like it's not. It's in politics, it's in banking or finance. It's everywhere. So it is power. Then it's just power. That's the answer we have.
Well, it's the only answer I can come up with. It's power and control.
Well, the only other side there's
two podcasters don't have it.
Well, not anymore for sure. But there's a new video that I'm sure there's stuff to clip, but it's really you have to see. I did put it in the show notes, and it's this young woman who had a meeting with Harvey Weinstein. She says she locked the door and he raped her eventually, but she has video of their second meeting. She'd met him briefly before, and then she's pitching her company or product to him. And, there's a hug, and then he's talking, and she's leaning in. I'm like, holy I can see where every move she made was interpreted by him as, oh, yeah, I'm scoring right now. Not blaming her, but it's just like, I don't know, my head hurts from it. It is, I really don't understand it. I don't.
Well, these are like the guys, they say, oh, she's into me. Doesn't care. He just thinks the guy's
because they're delusional. Because these guys are clearly delusional.
Delusional.
Yeah. Well, it's a symptom of something, and somebody better get to the bottom of it everything's just going to implode. I don't know if these guys were any good who are getting fired. I would presume that Matt Lauer getting fired was that actually hurtful to the network? Did they miss anything? Did they lose revenue over that? Do you know?
Well, I mean, they would like to have. He's one of those guys who was good at when they go out in the sales pitch.
Right.
They send the guys out in the field. You got a guy like Lauer there. Hey, how you doing? He's like a really glad hand.
That's funny. Guy. You mentioned that about Scott Adams. He was that guy, and of course, as I'm listening to your interview with him, I'm like, oh crap, I've been that guy most of my life too. Hey, bring Curry along. Some chick there will probably remember him from MTV and buy our stupid product.
Yeah. It's very common. We had kind of celebrity sales guys at PC Magazine for a while. Yeah. They weren't known to anybody except for the people that saw them. Yeah. They're these really good-looking, really, really good-looking guys, and most of the women ad buyers were women. And so you'd send these guys in there, and they would be like the flirtatious. They bat their eyes, and they do all the things the girl would do. And I remember the one time I was told this by one of the salespeople. The one guy got promoted out to some publishing job. And so then the newbies go into this office where they're big buyers of massive amounts of advertising. And the woman in there goes, I can't remember his name, but we'll think it's just Robbie. She says, where's Robbie? And she was like she was brokenhearted that the sales guy didn't show up anymore. I don't know if they had to round him up to send him over there to get that deal done. But yeah, this is a business.
Speaking of which,
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
we got got to take care of some business is what we got to do right now.
We have a few people to thank. Let's start with Dame Dane, $133.33. My wonderful husband was fired 2 weeks ago in a round of layoffs, so we could really use some jobs karma.
Oh.
At the yearly baton run in Copenhagen, Dame Dane ran as the third runner in the group at the time of 33.33. Why not celebrate that with a donation to the best podcast in the universe? You guys give me so much value. I always giggle like crazy, like a crazy woman when I listen to on my commute. So we cry and laugh a lot.
All right. Well, they need emergency jobs karma. Got it.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
James O'Brien comes in with $123.45. He's in the USA. He's not the J.O.B. from London. I don't think. Norman Tarr in Beverly, Massachusetts, 100. Anonymous. My first anonymous donation, 100. Kevin Redacted. Now, Kevin Redacted.
Cool name.
Sent a card.
I like Kevin
and
Redacted.
I think I have to read it because it's got the Space Force logo.
Space Force.
Space Force.
Space Force.
I saw this card and made me think of John saying...
Space Force.
John saying...
Space Force.
Hold on. Space Force! Could you please add jobs karma for my wife who has an interview the day before we leave for a vacation to Gitmo Nation, Bavaria.
Yes.
So maybe some travel karma. Excellent.
Space Force.
Excellent deconstruction in the past few shows. Keep up the great work. Call out to any douchebag who hasn't donated in the last 6 months. Douchebag. Your sanity is worth at least a tenner. So chip in, slave. The value for value model needs you.
Now that's an endorsement right there. Nice. Yeah. Well done. Thank you, Kevin.
Give you some karma at the end.
Kevin Redacted.
Ed Van Dyke in Herpen, Netherlands. Herpen.
He has a call out for his birthday. Rob, we'll have that listed in a moment.
Aichi Kitagawa in San Francisco, 9918. Terry Lessard in Delray Beach, Florida.
First donation ever. D-douche, please.
You've been D-douched.
Another 9918. This is our special one-time offer of 9918.
What was that for?
Sir Olite guy in Reno. Dan Tantalo in Lakewood Village, Texas, 9918. Sir Stu Coates in Chelmsford, Essex, UK. Jeffrey Steckroth. Yeah, parts unknown.
He wants an F
and
cancer.
He needs an F cancer at the end.
Yeah, we'll give him that.
Sir Tony, Jedi Knight of the Coders. Oh, that's the end of our 9919 deal. It was
a great promotion.
It doesn't always work out. Yeah. Sir Tony, Jedi Knight of the Coders, 6006, small boobs. I need some job hunting karma. Put that there at the end. Jackson Butler in Levelland, Texas. Christopher Dechter at 6006. Christopher Dechter, 5678. MLM in Phoenix, Arizona. Another cancer.
For his dad. Yeah, I need some F cancer for his dad.
My dad has cancer. He doesn't know I know. 5520.
Well, we all know now, and we're going to try and make it work. And I also want to do that for Angie. She also needs an F cancer.
Lawrence de Bruin.
De Bruin.
In Trondheim.
De Bruin.
Norway. He's got something here. Been too long. This is my last donation. Needed some job karma, relationship karma, birthday shout out. I don't know if that's on there.
It is, yes.
Bass turning 70 on the 12th. And a douchebag call out to Simon Pass.
Douchebag.
He hasn't noticed him ever donating. Chris Bullock, 5510, double nickels on the dime. Baron Mark Tanner in Whittier, California, 5454. Armando, which is your birthday. He says a happy birthday to you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Armando Guerra in Spring Branch, Texas.
That's our mail carrier. Our former mail carrier.
$54.
Wait, let me see what he says. I live in Bandera now. I don't regret leaving Austin. I've never been overboard, by the way, but I have been behind many times in the podcast this past year due to moving, surgery, time off, etc. Armando, you are a part of our family, man. I hope everything's okay with you. And we miss you in Austin.
Sir Steve McConnell in Cortland, Ohio, 54. Edward Rich, 5269 in Crystal Lake, Illinois. Eric Bird in Baltimore, Maryland, 5222. Following people are all $50 donations, name and location. Drew Mochak in El Cerrito, right down the street from me. David Schlesinger in Rosemont, Illinois. Jonathan Meyer in Xenia, Ohio. Dame Patricia Worthington in Miami. And Anthony Salmons in Augusta, Georgia. Augusta, GA. Robert Dacanay in Fairfax, Virginia. Joseph Pumphrey in Brandon, Mississippi. Edward Mazurik in Memphis, Tennessee. Heather Rodriguez in Stockton, California. Roy Tenhave, I think. What is that?
Tenhave? I think it's Dutch.
Tenhave? He's in Pinnaker.
Tenhave in Pijnacker.
Tony Smith in Fort Worth. Robert Weber in San Jose, California. Robert Gardner, parts unknown. Brandon Savoy in Port Orchard, Washington.
Sir Mark Brandon Johnson. To you.
Sir Brandon. Mark Johnson in Aurora, Colorado. Jonathan Ferris in Liberal, Kansas, where they vote Republican. Robert Bruckner, parts unknown. Brett Yo in Catonsville, Maryland. Larry Hay, a lot of 50s today.
Yeah, it's
Larry Hay in Mooresville, North Carolina. Kimberly Redmond in Toronto, Ontario, in Scandinavia. Paul Hooper, Ian Sesses, maybe.
Sices,
for the sanity. He is in Peabody, Massachusetts. And last but not least, Kyle Meyer in Atlanta, Georgia. I want to thank all these folks who are contributing to the show, producing the show, helping us finish the show, and
yes, and two shows, of course, really for our for 1067 and 1068 for two shows. Thank you very much for keeping the show going. We appreciate it. We love doing it. And this is exactly how the Value for Value Network functions. It works very well. We also want to thank people who came in under $50, and we got a lot of people on subscriptions, 1111s, 1212s, 33s, night layaways. Go to Dvorak.org/NA to find out exactly how you can support the work that we do.
Dvorak.org/NA.
We've got a couple of karmas we need to do here, and I have some night karma requests. This is Sir Colin, the friendly fat man, checking in from Cincinnati. I'd like to request a health karma if possible. Over the Labor Day weekend, doctors found a tumor a bit smaller than a golf ball in the back of my brain. I'm going to have it taken out. I would appreciate some karma to cover all the doctor's appointments, surgery, and recovery. Keep on keeping on. I am counting on the No Agenda Show as a critical part of my recovery process to ensure my brain is functioning properly and firmly in Dimension A after they get done with it. Many thanks from Sir Colin. Yeah, send a picture of your amygdala. We want to see if it's small. I'm sure they're going to do some MRIs, right? If you can take a golf ball out of his head. Yeah.
Probably if a small amygdala probably helped a golf ball not kill him.
Not kill him, exactly. So keep us posted. Definitely. We want to hear all of what's going on. And some F cancer for you and jobs on the way for everybody who needs it.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Yes, it is September 13th, 2018. Here's the birthday list for today in episode 1068. We need to give a belated birthday shout-out to Jeff Kenyon. His son, Jake, turned 25 on September 8th, so thank you very much, Jeff, for handing it off to your son, Jake. Sir Roger Boots turned 65 on September 9th. Happy birthday to him. Ed Van Dyke says happy birthday to his brother, Rob Van Dyke. He turned 40 on September the 9th. Marty Williamson, happy birthday to his daughter, Rachel, 25 years old on the 10th. And Lawrence de Bruin says happy birthday to his dad, Bus, who turned 70 years old yesterday on September the 12th. Of course, we also give you a hearty in the morning from all your friends here at the best podcast in the universe. It's your birthday, yeah. And as far as we know, only one official knighting today, but that could, of course, result in a black knight, as we discussed earlier. So we do need to bring out the blades for this one, John.
That's right here, all greased up, ready to go.
Nice. Slick. Jason Zeisler, head on up to the podium here next to the lectern. You, sir, thanks to your support of the best podcast in the University amount of $1,000 or more, have entered the illustrious round table of the knights and dames, and I hereby pronosticate the Sir Code Monkey, Knight of the No Agenda Round Table. For you, we've got the Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Cookies and Vodka, Warm Beer and Cold Women, Parliaments and Pale Ale, Rabbit Meat and Goat Milk, Bourbon and Bong Rips, Onion Rings and Ice Cream, Brisket and Barrel-Aged Copper Ale, Polish Potato Vodka, Organic Macaroni and Plasticizers, Mutton and Mead, Ginger Ale and Gerbils, Sparkling Cider and Escorts, Bong Hits and Bourbon, and, well, I said mutton and mead, but breast milk and pablum is on there as well. Go to noagendanation.com/rings. That's where Eric the Shill will get you all of the, he'll take your information and get you your ring and your sealing wax. And please make sure you tweet out a picture or
and you're on your way.
Yeah, you'll be on your way.
Do you have the meetup announcement?
Oh, yes, thank you. That's it's out in the Bay Area, is it not?
Bay Area meetup at Drake's dealership on Friday. Write this down. Friday, September 21st from 5 to 8.
Yep.
At Drake's. It's called Drake's Dealership. It's an old car dealership that's turned into this huge hipster bar.
Oh, nice.
On 2325 Broadway. I believe you can get there through BART. Easy enough, so you don't have to hassle this. So that will be, and you can go to the, I don't know if you're going to get, I'm going to send a mailing out. People should be on the mailing list that in the whole country. So because I will send a mailing out to everyone within 200 miles using MailChimp.
Using geolocation strategies and tactics with machine learning.
No, bitched about that already.
Comic strip blogger!
I'm sorry.
But try meetup.com/noagenda with a capital N, capital A, and /events.
And we're still working on the new date for the Austin meetup. We've moved it away from the weekend of the 5th because that is Austin city limits. And quite honestly, we're here on vacation. We're in love. I asked her to marry me, so give me another week and then we'll take care of it. I have a couple of Words Matters clips, some shorties just to get out of the way.
Okay.
Some interesting things. I guess there was some deputy spokeshole who was sitting in for Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And he got a question from, and it was odd that he didn't know, and it was odd that the reporter asked this question. Here it is.
Yeah, said President Obama, former President Obama said President Trump would need a magic wand to get to 4% GDP. The president suggested that was a direct quote from President Obama. Did President Obama ever say that?
I don't know. I'm sorry. And again, I'm not the chairman of the Council of Twitter Advisors, but I was trying to go back up. Yeah.
So the question is, the president tweeted out that Obama said he needed a magic wand to get to the 4.1 GDP.
Yeah.
Is that a direct quote? Yeah, I believe he said that too. I mean, he didn't exactly say that, but for this guy to ask it, and for this spokeshole to be like, I don't know, it's not that hard to go find the video.
There's no answer to it. He just says, "Well, I'm going to negotiate a better deal." Well, how exactly are you going to negotiate that? What magic wand do you have? And usually the answer is he doesn't have an answer.
So he did kind of say that. I just found it odd that why would a reporter, was he trying to trap this newbie deputy dude into something?
I have no idea. Just these guys, that whole press conference group.
I can't watch
it anymore. A bunch of douchebags. It's pretty obvious.
Oh yeah. So then President Obama came out with I guess he was receiving an award, and he had all these things to say about President Trump, and it's kind of sad that he's feeling forced he has to do this because no president really does that. Bitches about that guy, the next guy, oh, he's no good.
Bush stayed out of the way for 4, 5, 6 years before
didn't say anything.
He came out of his hole, and then when he did, it was just to promote a book.
Right, and so Obama had to say a whole bunch of things, but he did flub one, which was, I don't know, this was a good catch by one of our producers since I've been on the road, but he made a pretty interesting flub. And this may be under the category of what you accuse others you are guilty of yourself.
It should not be Democratic or Republican. It should not be a partisan issue to say that we do not pressure the Attorney General or the FBI to use the criminal justice system as a cudgel to punish our political opponents. or to explicitly call on the Attorney General to protect members of our own party from prosecution because an election happens to be coming up.
Oops. Did the truth slip out there? To protect from persecution? Oh, boy. Oops. How does that happen? You gotta wonder. How does that happen? It's got to
be going on. That's what you're thinking.
It's got to be in his head. And then the last one, we were trying to figure out why Netflix, of all companies, decided to move everyone away from using the term binging. Don't binge. Oh, we don't want to use binge because it doesn't sound Luke's. It doesn't sound Luke's enough.
Yes, this doesn't sound Luke's.
That's what that was. I mean, I use that term all the time, which is why it's extra funny for me. But for them to say, we want our brand to be more Luke's. And I think the only thing we could come up with is that maybe because the Obamas are now going to be executive producers and have a reasonable budget.
That was your thesis. That was you, yeah.
So listen to what he said here.
So if you don't like what's going on right now, and you shouldn't, do not complain. Don't hashtag. Don't get anxious. Don't retreat. Don't binge on whatever it is you're binging on.
What do you think? I think he's part of the plan here.
Maybe. That's interesting.
I thought, don't binge. Whatever you're binging on, don't binge on it.
So one of our producers sent me a note saying, well, maybe we should change the word to marathon.
Marathon? Oh, no, I don't like that at all.
You sit down, you go on a marathon and watch all the House of Cards shows.
No, I don't like that.
But I don't like any of it. In fact, I refuse to. If somebody says something's binge-worthy, I just tweeted this. I'm not going to ever look at the product.
So there were a couple new text messages that came out between the so-called lovers, the FBI lovers, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page.
Yeah.
And I think they only...
The conspirators.
I think they only strengthened my argument, actually, which I will...
I think your argument's the right argument. They were conspiring to overthrow the government of the United States of America and should be both in jail.
In fact, if you listen to the text of one of the most recent SMS text messages, you'll see what I mean.
All right, get this. Newly revealed text messages between FBI's lovers Peter Strzok and Lisa Page show the couple were apparently involved in a scheme to leak stories to the press.
All right, so this happened in April of 2017, and Peter Strzok, he texted Page and said, I have literally just gone to find this phone to tell you I want to talk to you about media leak strategy with the DOJ before you go.
Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm carrying on an affair with this super hot FBI chick, I'm not going to say, I literally had to go find the phone to text you about this. You have this phone, in your underwear. That's how you are with the clandestine love. You always have this. You'll never say, I had to go find the phone that I do all my sexting with you on to tell you. But these guys were never doing that. Which is exactly how you should look at this, as two conspirators, not lovebirds. And no one is picking up on this.
It's beyond me.
I have a Judge Napolitano take on this if you're interested. On the,
of course.
The text. Okay.
FBI leaks, unbelievable. It's not unbelievable. The federal government is the best leaker in the world, and they do this when they want to target a person. Who do they target? Their boss, the President of the United States, by leaking information to the press and then using the press sources as a basis to get a FISA warrant.
This was in 2017.
Correct. I have been a critic of FISA for 40 years. It's been around since 1978. It lowers the standard for issuing a warrant.
And it's so secret.
Correct. The temptation for FBI agents, instead of going to judges like I was, where you have to demonstrate probable cause of crime and the judge grills you and decides whether or not he's going to sign the warrant, go to the FISA court, which delivers, this number will blow you away, 99.97% of all warrant requests, because there is no scrutiny, there is no transparency, there is no challenge, and the standard is so low.
They sent that text message on April 10th, 2017. 2 days later, he writes her and says, well done, Page, because he was told that there are going to be 2 negative articles about Page's namesake, they say, which is Carter Page, coming out. And he was congratulating her on getting these negative stories out into the press.
Well, This is obviously the wrong way for the FBI to conduct law enforcement. Here's what a lot of people probably want to know. Is it a crime? Depends on what they leaked. If they leak secrets, grand jury information, they can be prosecuted.
He might sue.
Yes.
All right.
Well, there you go. It's despicable.
It's totally despicable. I'm same as you. I'm stunned that this has been allowed to fester.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got one thing left.
Oh, I have a couple things. Good.
Well, then you do one more.
Okay. Elon Musk. Man, the former New York banker is smart. He said Elon Musk was just one New York Times or Wall Street Journal interview away from being $200 a share in January, which is what we passed on to everybody. And it looks like he's getting pretty close. Here's the podcast hit piece on Elon Musk, which I thought was fun to listen to. M5M.
Out of that wild live interview that has people talking, billionaire Elon Musk of Tesla and SpaceX fame like we've never seen him before, smoking pot on YouTube. And if he was looking to reassure shareholders after recent controversies, this was likely not the way to do it. NBC News national correspondent Miguel Almaguer has the story.
Yeah. The 2.5-hour interview with Elon Musk described as provocative, personal, and intriguing.
Like, what is it like? What's going on in the head?
Never-ending explosion.
It's just constant ideas, just bouncing around.
Yes.
Water on
But today it's this moment making headlines across the business world. I mean, it's legal, right?
It's totally legal.
Okay. Musk under fire after taking a hit of marijuana mixed with tobacco. I'm not a regular smoker of weed. I don't find that it is very good for productivity. Critics say it's just the latest misstep for the billionaire CEO of Tesla and SpaceX. Amid rumors of drug use on social media, Musk told the New York Times, "This past year has been the most difficult and painful year of my career."
He is going through some issues, and he's bringing everyone along for the ride. Now, whether that's a good thing for shareholders or not, it obviously wasn't today.
Working to revolutionize transportation with high-speed underground pods, Musk may also be on the cutting edge of artificial intelligence. But tonight, Tesla stock is dropping after its CEO took a hit. Miguel Almaguer, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Now, what is the thing most bothersome about this report? If you're Joe Rogan, you're pissed off. Not once was Joe Rogan mentioned.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
On YouTube.
Joe Rogan
just
show.
On YouTube.
Just a vague podcast.
That is so lame.
It is lame. NBC should be ashamed of themselves.
And Joe Rogan's like, wow, that was no good. Because obviously it was a great plus for the show.
Yes.
And just having Elon Musk on in general is a great plus for the show. He's a guy I can't call, you know.
Well, you could call this person and they would tell you no.
Exactly. I could call this person to get rejected. Go ahead.
On the DH Unplugged show, I have said this, and I've said this, I think, on this show. I think he's trying to get himself fired.
Sure looks like it.
They just won't do it. I mean, he's like at his wit's end. I think he knows what's going on with Tesla.
Well, first of all, John, I think
the only guy to say this.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the Tesla Model 3 looks like a piece of crap.
And not only that, I think he knows that they're doomed. I think he knows it. They're doomed. The whole battery.
He wants to get out so he doesn't get blamed.
Yeah, the whole battery car sector is doomed. It's just it's not there.
He's one of those guys who doesn't want to get blamed, so he wants out.
He wants out, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And by the way, the Model 3, I've seen a couple of them. They're around here. Because of that stupid front end, that boat. Looks like a boat front end. Doesn't have a grill or nothing. It just looks like some sort of a horrible-looking, cheap front end.
Mm-hmm.
It is not attractive.
While we're on cars for a moment, so we're in the off-season. I forgot to mention, Italy, I don't know if it's the season or what's going on, is cheap. Cheap. We had 2 glasses of rosé, equivalent $10. You want to buy that anywhere in America? Certainly in Austin, it would be $25. Food, everything is cheap here, and it may be the season. So anyway, so we got a great deal on a Mercedes C220 diesel, which is a station wagon. I wanted it for the suitcases. Holy crap. And I've always hated Mercedes. This is a great car. It's got 9 speeds. It's automatic.
A native ad?
This is not a native ad. I'm telling you, I'm very impressed with it. I mean, not the technology. It's your typical rental car technology. Like, I'm like, ooh, I'll just move my seat. Tina has to do the clunk, clunk, the levers, slide on the rails bit to move her seat. And it doesn't have adaptive cruise control or any of that stuff. But just as a ride, just driving, and especially for a diesel, and we're getting 1,200 miles on a full tank. This is a very interesting vehicle.
That's a lot of miles.
I don't know. Yes.
You're not getting that in an electric car.
I don't know what it costs. It doesn't seem like it's a crazy expensive car. I don't know. It's not their high end of anything. But just the ride, I've always thought Mercedes was like a tank. And this is not like a tank. Very impressed with that. Now, that's my native ad for the day. Woo! I can't wait to get home to Austin to see the Mercedes.
You get that
waiting
check in the mail from Mercedes-Benz. They'll be dropping one of those cars off.
Yeah. Back to NPR, who for some reason I think, and Michael Z, our producer who monitors NPR for us, he also feels that NPR is now trying to move towards getting the MSNBC audience, more that Rachel Maddow goodness, that sticky stuff they love so much, and they're doing it in an obvious way. This is their interview with Marco Rubio, and it's so obvious that the guy wants to get Rubio to say he's not fit, he should be impeached, referring to the president, of course. But listen to it. And I cut a few bits out here, so there are 1 or 2 spots where the spaces are come quicker than they would in the original interview. Of course, you can always get the source material at nashownotes.com, and you can download the full clip. But listen to this.
This op-ed writer describes a president who's so erratic that there were, quote, whispers in the cabinet about applying the 25th Amendment, which is a way to remove a president who's seen as unable to perform his duties. Late in the presidency of Ronald Reagan, his then chief of staff, Howard Baker, it's a matter of history, conducted an examination, even talking to the president himself to try to determine, is there a 25th Amendment problem here? Should John Kelly be doing that?
Oh, that's a stretch. We're talking here more about a behavioral issue in terms of what some people claim anonymously. They don't like temperament. And that's a very different situation. I've never had John Kelly or, frankly, anyone in the administration come to me and said any of the things that have been reported in the last 72 hours.
Should you be coming to them and asking?
Well, again, you could. But ultimately, why? And I suppose in the end, if they had these real concerns, and in the types of conversations I've had with people in the past, I'm confident that would have come out.
Does the president strike you in your interactions with him or the staff around him as responsible, focused, on target, fit?
Yeah, well, he strikes me as Donald Trump, which is he's not a political figure.
Is he fit?
Understands and describes issues differently from someone who served 20 years in the Senate would describe them. But he has a pretty clear understanding of what's at stake with China. He has a pretty clear understanding in the conversations that I've had with him about what's at stake in Venezuela. He has a pretty clear understanding of the risks involved in this engagement with South Korea and North Korea.
Clear understanding about North Korea? He proclaimed that the nuclear threat has been taken care of with North Korea,
which is obviously that goes back to the non-political guy, and that's
not non-political. It's not
No,
true.
But let me tell you why. Because in his view, he's a negotiator. He's applying his business acumen. And that's why I tell you, he wouldn't express himself the way a 20-year senator or a member of the Council of Foreign Relations would. In his mind, I'm a negotiator, and the way to get the other guy to give me more of what I want is to be nice to him.
One more thing. I asked, is he fit? You answered, well, he's Donald Trump. I understand that. But is he fit?
I have not personally seen or been told by anybody anything that causes me to believe that he's not fit to serve as president of the United States.
Are you willing to say in a positive sense, yes, he is fit?
Based on everything I've seen and know. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with everything he's done or every conclusion he's reached.
What is this fit shit all of a sudden? Since when do we use the term fit?
Guy?
It's an NPR guy.
What's wrong with NPR?
I told you they're trying to get the MSNBC audience by badgering, leading, and lying. it's kind of annoying.
It's a public operation. What do they want?
Well, then,
I
John,
find that to be one of the most annoying clips you've ever played ever.
No, you're welcome. I'm glad I could do that.
No, wait. Borderline clip of the day. I'll give you a borderline clip of the day.
Oh, well, that's very kind of you. I didn't expect that.
Clip of the day.
Whereas I thought this clip from Dutch television with Stormy Daniels might get me somewhere.
Is there something you know now, which we will know soon, that could bring down this presidency?
I say that we have yes, there's stuff that I know, and I would say it's 50-50 shot at this point, which is pretty scary odds if you're the president.
Oh,
she's off in Europe talking crap. 50-50 shot. I got stuff that'll take him down. I'm Stormy Daniels, damn it. Basta. Yeah. We haven't done OTG. I do want to mention a couple things about being OTG on the road in Europe, which means I've had only the Microsoft Surface Go and my Kyocera flip phone.
Yep.
The flip phone has functioned just wonderfully. It's done everything I need it to do to stay in touch with everybody. And, of course, I still have the iPhone at home in Austin plugged in with WhatsApp running for actually, my sisters are still on WhatsApp. They have a siblings group, so I can get that on my Surface. I wanted to say I am so in love with this device. This is your next native ad. And for me to say that is odd. And I learned that, Microsoft has put in so many features and does so much option creep.
You're talking about the Go.
Yeah, the Surface Go.
Yeah.
Like Outlook. I know you were kind of laughing at that. And I had a huge one of those Outlook things where you get an error saying, oh, no, your MS API 33.dll is no good. Reinstall. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then if you Google that, big mistake. Because half of the thing, download this little app, we'll fix it for you. Or call this number, toll free, we'll fix it for you. It's just, and of course, I'm so stupid because I'm trying to Google the answer because it looked like a technical problem. All I really needed to do was just go to the Microsoft Store and install it again. But man, can you customize that thing? I don't think any email program has all the customization for views and rules with automatic replies, and you can just... For someone who's a novice who comes in and you see the ribbon on any Microsoft product, it just makes you want to cry. It's so complicated. But once you get into it, I'm very impressed. I am. And I never thought I would say this. I never thought I would. I thought I would say
that's
this.
Because you're in love. You're head over heels. And so everything's wonderful.
Here's the article I wanted to share with you for our OTG segment. This is, what do they call it? 7 cell phone facts that will make you question your addiction. And I was surprised by some of these facts. Let's just say that they're true. Because they're in an article on the internet, so they must be true.
No, it must be true. It's illegal otherwise.
iPhone owners unlock their devices an average of how many times a day, do you think?
20.
80. 80 times a day.
Wow.
All right. Oh, this is good. We'll do questions. You've heard of the phantom vibrations where someone thinks that they're...
It's happened to me.
Okay.
And I don't even use the phones that much.
Maybe it was some other vibration device.
No.
What percentage of undergraduates in the study experienced phantom vibrations? What percentage?
95.
89. So you're a little higher than we thought. And this was a frightening statistic. Percentage of millennials who wake up at least once every night to check their phones.
Ooh, I would say 50.
53%.
I'm nailing it.
That, yeah, you are. That is surprising. They wake up. It says to wake up to check their phone. So does that mean they wake up and they want to check their phone, or they wake up with the need to check their phone? I'm not so sure.
Maybe they're just looking for the time. I have no idea.
And these are combined surveys, I guess. This comes from some ComScore data. Average person spends how many hours a day on their phone? The average U.S. adult.
8.
No, it's not that bad. 2 hours and 51 minutes.
That's nothing.
3 hours on your phone. 80. Instead of asking you questions, 89% of mobile phone owners said in a survey they use their phones during their most recent social gathering, which
yes.
Church 4%, movie theater 5%, during a meeting 5%, family dinner 12%, at a restaurant 38%, while waiting in line 74%, on public transportation 75%, and my favorite, while walking down the street 77%.
Yeah, those numbers are low.
Yeah. Now we have, what do you think percentage during sex?
8.
9%.
Oh, man, am I good.
In the shower.
Oh, that's actually a higher number than I think people realize. It's probably closer to 20%.
No, 12%. But church, 19%. And then we have dinner date, 33%. And at child or school function, this is low, I think. 32% seems low.
Yeah, probably low.
The damn play. Yeah. It's sad.
It's a recital.
And again, for those of you who are going the OTG lifestyle, by having a phone with you that will let you communicate with the modern world, but it makes it difficult to do it, which keeps you sane, you get so much enjoyment from watching everybody else. And then
somebody sent me an email saying, hey, look, and they sent me it was an article about how a lot of millennials and others are, and even your group are picking up on this OTG idea, saying again that you're from the future. You're actually a trendsetter. You don't know it. I mean, it's not because of you, but you sense these things and you do them.
I pick the hits
in advance of the trend itself.
I pick the hits. That's what I've done all my life. I pick the hits. I think
the two of us both do that a lot.
Totally. We are hit pickers. Look, you give us an album, we'll pick the hit.
I can do it.
For 3 points over retail.
Definitely can pick the hits.
Okay. Let me see if I got anything else. I have a number of things. I did pull the clip of Kamala Harris and Sheryl Sandberg. I think I'll keep that for Sunday's show. I promised I would have it. So I do have it about advertising and their model. It's a little long, so we can do that later on Sunday. Let me see. Oh, yes. Maybe this one just to bring us up to speed on the latest category in the Academy Awards.
Following a wave of criticism, the Oscars' new popular film category has been put on hold. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences is postponing the debut of the new category that it had intended to introduce at the next Academy Awards in February. The Academy made the announcement that it is shelving the idea for now on Thursday, after a meeting of the Board of Governors on Tuesday. However, the Academy said it will continue to discuss the idea for the award and will examine and seek additional input regarding the new category. The announcement explained that implementing the new award 9 months into the year created challenges for films that have already been released. Academy CEO Don Hudson said on Thursday, there's been a wide range of reactions to the introduction.
I'm going to have to stop this. I'm going to have to kill myself if I have to listen to that voice anymore. Anyway, the
terrible.
Bottom line is, oops, they recalled their category, which was going to save... what's the name of the movie? Black Panther. From the
they
embarrassment.
Black Panther, the Academy Award for Best Picture because it's about black people.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, but if it was a better movie, maybe it'd be better. And you might, you can actually win an award if you make a movie that's got a story.
Oh, please. Don't get all technical now. I've got so much stuff that I've been collecting. I think we should just do it on Sunday. I think we're kind of up to speed for now.
Okay, well, I got a good bit then I got coming up, which I'll save.
Okay,
for Sunday.
All right.
I was going to run it tonight.
Okay.
I actually have 2 good bits left on here on the sheet, and then I do have that clip of Jimmy Kimmel framing Pence.
Okay.
And we'll run that too, and I think we'll have a pretty good show coming up. And what's your travel schedule look like?
Yeah, so Saturday we go. We take the train to Switzerland, Lucerne.
What are you going to do with your car?
Oh no, we drop that off in Como. That was
okay.
So it's as long as it's the same country, it's okay. So I drop that off there. We take the train and
wait. We mean the same country? We're talking about the EU. It's one giant, big, happy kumbaya country.
Oh yeah, good luck with that, my friend.
Oh, about Switzerland.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a topic I'll have to report on. I have noticed how it really isn't all that big, happy kumbaya, all member states. So I definitely have that for us. Yeah, I know. It's stunning, isn't it? And coming to you from the angry microclimate of Lake Como here in northeastern Italy, where I'm very happy. And yes, I am in love. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I remain. And the weather here is nice, too. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday with another episode of the best podcast in the universe right here on your No Agenda show. Part of it from northern Silicon Valley, part of it from Switzerland. Until then, remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. And adios, mofos!
The search results when we type in a word like peppermint patty or something. I don't know.
John McCain was put to death.
To be completely honest, I didn't have WD-40 so that I took a shower at this house and I sat on the couch on a towel.
Where drain the swamp comes from.
So that I took a shower at this house.
Norm, Ornstein and I share and
consume our bodily fluids. John McCain was put to death.
Wouldn't know anything about that because I know that I took a shower at this house.
He has broken it.
At this house.
Jimbo was also locked in a bedroom.
Well, to be honest with you.
To be completely honest.
Those around him.
Bedroom, sitting in his own urine.
Kids were stuck in my car.
Was put to death. It's like 24 hours.
And I can only imagine what poor Jimbo saw in there.
According to Washington Specific Dog.
Well, to be honest with you.
My car.
Cleet says that wasn't it. We're also seeing as he looked closer.
John McCain, a total mess, and I can only imagine
values.
24 hours.
Something about that because I know that I took a shower.
Assaults on the individual.
Couch on a towel.
20 hours since.
Of norms, others who he marginalizes, and
I know that I took a shower at this house.
Collusion.
Totally killing it. Beautiful, amazing.
Collusion.
The more people are sick and tired of this poop show in Washington.
Yeah, it smells like a setup to me.
I've been looking at the spaghetti string models, and they're just getting smaller and smaller, fewer and fewer. That means that the path is becoming more and more agreed upon.
Away from the coast, get away from the coast, away from the coast, get away from the coast, evacuate, away, evacuate, evacuate, away, evacuate, evacuate, away.
But everything is wonderful because he thinks he can snow people under.
Let's remember how he was throwing paper towels out.
People are afraid. They're scared.
I never knew there was a different solution to my constipation.
It was a shocker. I'm everything.
Cannot wait for landfall. The hurt comes sooner than that.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me, I think.
The best podcast in the universe.
Mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
I am the demon! Ah!